today. We're going to have Chelsea versus Liverpool. It's going to be massive. FA Cup final. So you've got to understand from the history that Chelsea, for only the second time, the same two sides, Chelsea and Liverpool actually, will contest for both the League Cup and the FA Cup final in the same campaign. The previous occasion, they haven't met each other since 1992 to 1993 when Arsenal actually beat Sheffield Wednesday in both finals. They're saying, will this match be a repeat of 2021-2022 League Cup final when Liverpool will look in to win both of England's domestic cup competitions? I don't know about that. Well, the last two, yeah, it was Middlesbrough. So Middlesbrough won the FA Cup final in 1996-1997. But it'll be the fourth meeting for Liverpool and Chelsea. Oh my goodness, the fourth meeting. That's crazy. These guys are always head-to-head. It's just unreal. Let me know you guys' predictions in the comments. If you think Liverpool's going to win, Chelsea's going to win. Will it go to penalties? If it does go to penalties, who's going to win for penalties? But it's going to kick off in about an hour. So I wanted to get on the stream early, make sure my tags were good, and to make sure that my everything was sounding good, looking good, and all that crap, you know. But it's going to be a big epic game, by the way, people. I'm going to have live commentary, not just me talking, but live commentary from the commentators. So it's like all legit and all official, and yeah, we'll have the marker up. If you guys haven't familiarized yourself with how this works, there's a marker where the ball's going, where the decisions have been made, and then the commentary over the top. So the best thing you can do, other than, you know, go pay like $50 for a freaking Sky Sports or whatever you're going to pay for to see the FA Cup final, because they don't really show the big finales for free, you know. So they don't. They rip people off with pay-per-views and all that. Rinse people. If you go to the stadium itself, I think they're selling like thousands of dollars for the tickets for this game, by the way. People are paying thousands to watch this game, which is insane in the membrane. But, you know, it's a cup final. So that's per seat, by the way. Thousands of dollars per seat in like mediocre positions. At the front, you'll be paying like $5,000 at least for a seat if you're late to the party. You know, if you're in the middle, you'll be paying a couple thousand. If you're in the back, you'll be paying, you know, $1,000. You know, if you're late and getting tickets. This is a huge game for Liverpool. I am a big fan of Jurgen Klopp. I really do like what Jurgen Klopp does. He's one of my favorite managers, no doubt. Him and Pep Guardiola. But yeah, we cannot miss this final. This is just kind of like, I won't say it's once in a lifetime. It is. Yeah, I'm gonna fix my tags and make sure that people can find this video very easily. You know? Yeah, know what I'm saying? Get a lot of lag with things in my way, distractions like advertisements on videos and stuff. I hate ads on videos. This is ridiculous. When my channel was fully monetized and I had thousands of subscribers, I would never put ads in the videos. I tried not to. I did try it one time to see what it was about, but it really ruined the video, so I took it off. You can see that the win probability is 47% towards Liverpool and 26% towards Chelsea. Yeah, a lot of people think Chelsea's going to win. I think Liverpool's going to win this, in my prediction. So I'm going to put that in the comments after I've done my tags. No, that's FIFA, that's not the actual... So many fake videos out there, people You know, they're saying, "Oh, I've got the cup final and all that," and they don't. You can't stream a cup final on YouTube. You're going to get copyright stricken, and people will take your video down. So. It's going to be 3-2 to Liverpool. I believe it's going to be 3-2 to Liverpool. Appreciate the likes on the video. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we already got some predictions in. Liverpool. Nice. Oh. Getting the settings correct. Sound seems pretty good. Sound is good. Guys, if it's just showing up, drop your predictions in the comments. Let me know who you guys think is going to win this FA Cup final. I have predicted that Liverpool is going to win 3-2. Goal scorers, probably Mohamed Salah is going to get 2, and then Thiago is going to get 1. And then for Chelsea, I don't know. One person from Chelsea is going to get it. Let me know if there's any issues with the stream. Yeah, the video's a little crappy, but let me know if there's any issues with sound, quality, and all that. You let me know. Definitely looking forward to this game today, though. It's going to be a big one. Appreciate you guys showing up. Should be an epic game. Wait, Lola. Would you have to walk in a cat litter and then walk across my desk and get everywhere? Go on, go on, go on, get down, get down. If you guys ever got cats, you'll find out it's annoying as hell. They put cat litter on their paws and they walk across your PC, across your desk, getting it everywhere instead of scuffing it off their paws. It can be highly annoying. Hopefully everyone's weekend's going okay and it's not too fucked up. Mine's going alright. Not going too bad so far. Got some pain this morning, but other than that, pushing through it. What's that? Yeah, I'm gonna be playing more Warzone tonight. For sure, dude. For sure. How do you loop the video? Forget. Look at them showing up. Nice. They got Liverpool bus. Look how chill Salah is, look. Look at him, super chill right now. Look at the players, look at them. In their casual gear. Liverpool players. Craziness, huh? Heading to Wembley, the FA Cup final. Let me know any predictions. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win? Closing the streets off and everything, look. Insane. Gonna be super busy. Fans cheering them on. Oh yeah. The best of the best, huh? That's cool. That is cool.
Ukraine says it's pushed Russian forces out of the country's second biggest city, Kharkiv. The southeastern city has been pounded by Russian shells for weeks. Hundreds of civilians have been killed there. The city's mayor says the Russians are now heading back to the border, which is less than 20 miles away. The G7 group of leading industrialised nations say they'll never recognise international borders that Russia tries to alter through military aggression. G7 foreign ministers made the statement after a meeting in Germany this afternoon. And it's the Eurovision Song Contest final in Turin tonight with 25 countries competing. Ukraine are the favourites to win, but the UK's entry, Sam Ryder, is also tipped to do well. Timo Moryshchenko is Ukraine's Eurovision commentator and will be doing his job from a basement bomb shelter tonight.
Of course we want to win, but for me the main victory for us the main moments that all Europe supports us. It is very important. We feel this support, we feel the energy of United Europe. It is the most important victory for us.
And that's the 5 Live News. There's more at half-time in the Cup final.
More live Premier League football than anyone else. This is 5 Live.
What a season it's been.
Manchester City are already in cruise control.
Over 140 live subscription-free games.
Consolation for Burnley. Cornet rifling the ball into the roof of the net.
On Sunday, it's 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. From 2, West Ham against Manchester City. And from 4:30, Everton against Brentford. Then have your say on 606, the UK's biggest football debate.
This is 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sport, the FA Cup final, live from Wembley with Mark Chapman.
Pulisic finds the bottom corner, and Chelsea have their equaliser. Dalla rolls it in.
This is what happened in 2019.
It's a really well coached team.
Big final, big competition, and we want to be spot on.
Opportunity for Chelsea, and taken by Mason Mount. Mane gets on the end of the shot.
Yeah, this is what happened in 2019. Look.
Special energy, it's a special atmosphere.
Back to Mount, opens up, and Chelsea score a second, and they now have a 2-goal lead here at Wembley in the semi-final.
It's our first FA Cup final, and we are really desperate to win it.
And then the shot from the angle is in. Mane scores, and it's 3-0 to Liverpool. Surely Liverpool are bound for the FA Cup final.
It's North versus South. It's red versus blue. It's Klopp versus Tuchel.
So the men's FA Cup final kicks off at 4:45. Chelsea taking on Liverpool. John Murray.
Yes, and rather confusingly, it's not actually red against blue today because Chelsea are playing in yellow, even though they're up against the red of Liverpool.
Oh,
Liverpool
they
just
got their
been
new kit on, huh?
by the supporters to our right, and they've got the half that is almost all in shadow to warm up in, whereas Chelsea have got the sunshine to contend with for their warm-up. We've just heard from Juliet Farrington down in the tunnel, who has told us that it is a hamstring injury that keeps Kai Havertz out of the cup final. So a straightforward decision in the end for Lukaku to play for Thomas Tuchel. The plus for Chelsea is that Kovacic is fit and plays despite his ankle injury on Wednesday at Leeds. So Chelsea make one change from that match. Thiago Silva coming in for Christensen at the back. He's not in the 20, Christensen. So
Thiago Silva,
the club captain, and Kante are only named as substitutes. Liverpool make 5 changes from Tuesday. As expected, no Fabinho for them. He's not involved because of his thigh injury. So Henderson's into the midfield with Keita and Thiago. Konate plays in central defence. Robertson returns at left back. And the front line is Salah, Mane and Diaz.
John, thank you very much. Ian Dennis, Dion Dublin and Karen Carney complete your commentary team this afternoon. We'll hear from them all throughout the course of the afternoon. But let's hear from Thomas Tuchel pre-match, first of all, with Kelly Sommers.
Thomas, let's start with the team news. Mateo Kovacic starts. How big a boost is that for you?
Well, it was nice. I couldn't believe it, but he trained yesterday and he's so happy to be part of it and very excited, and he did everything and it worked. So we tried, we take the risk and see if it works out through the match. Looking at your front three, you've opted by going with Mount, Pulisic and Lukaku. Is that following their impressive performance in midweek? Yeah, there was no need for change, and we trust them again. All of them were involved in goals scored, assisted, so why to break the rhythm? It has been a difficult few months for the club, particularly off the pitch. How have you lifted them for cup final today? Oh, you don't need to lift anybody for a cup final. Once you sit in the bus on the day before, you arrive at Wembley, so we live so close to the stadium. You see the what is it, the arc? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see the arc, and then everything is clear. You feel the tension, and everybody's very excited, very happy to be here. It's a dream to play here and to be part of it, and we want to live up to it to the fullest. You came so close to lifting silverware here earlier this season. What would it mean to you to lift the FA Cup today, given everything that's happened to the club this season? Will be big, and will be even bigger considering the circumstances in which we made it. There's no doubt about it. You will be wearing a yellow kit today as well. What can you tell us about that? We want to win in yellow today. Is it a superstition thing? You can't win in blue? We can, but we want to win in yellow today.
or it may have to do with kit sales. I don't know, Karen.
Good luck with that.
No idea, chappers.
No. Because the League Cup final, they played in blue, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. That surprised me then, listening to that. But they're going for it in yellow, so here we go. Right. See what happens.
Here we go. I mean, Kelly touched on a few things there with Tuchel. I mean, the difficult second half of the season that they've had. Look, it'd be great if they did, for them, it'd be great if they did win the FA Cup, but it's not going to change all the uncertainty at the moment as they wait for this takeover to go through.
No, until it's, as you said, until it's done. There's still uncertainties about signing players, keeping players, giving out contracts, etc. So even the manager probably doesn't know. I know the new owner potentially came in and saw Thomas Tuchel and Emma Hayes yesterday, both ahead because they've both got finals. The women are in the final tomorrow as well. So I think he's went down and had a chat to them. But until it's done and everything's crossed the line, then no, John, you're going to jump in with it.
Well, I was just going to say that they are being strangely coy about wearing yellow today. We've asked the question over the last couple of days, and we were told that Thomas Tuchel would explain it in that interview, but that really hasn't shed much light on it. And it's not as if they haven't won the FA Cup
because they want to support the new team,
the
new
kit.
kit.
Decision today to play in yellow, and it does sound as though it is Chelsea's choice.
And well, therefore, reading between the lines, you think there's some kind of superstitious reason behind it, do you?
Well, that's been mentioned, yeah.
Right.
I think
it's wrong with wearing yellow. They just want to wear the same. They want to wear a new kit, you know.
I just dropped that in.
I
like the yellow kit.
Voice from nowhere. I think it's superstition. Then he disappears again.
Thomas Tuchel is, I think he's a superstitious manager, and I think he's done with it to after the League Cup final where they played in blue, and I think because he didn't elaborate there, but I am pretty convinced it's down to superstition.
They've lost their last 4 Wembley finals, haven't they? And I'm pretty sure they've played them all in blue.
Okay. Dave, do you have any?
We're going to have to dive even further into this. But guys, this isn't something that we can just do on a Saturday afternoon. This is going to have to take a few weeks of
kit colour
analysis.
Have you not got a kit colour database?
Unfortunately not, no.
There's still work to be done.
There's always work to be done. I think that's the exciting side about stats. Maybe there is a colour out there that is more successful at Wembley, and that might be my job to do.
It's not the colour, it's the players, man.
Chappers, what I will say, and just looking out onto the pitch at the moment, I think
ridiculous.
Dano mentioned it about one half of the pitch being in the sun. It will make a massive difference, that, because Liverpool are completely in the shade, no sun at all, and Chelsea are in this. They've got yellow shorts and yellow socks and blue tops on at the moment to warm up. They will be sweating so much, and Liverpool won't. It might not sound a lot, but they're under the heat, and Liverpool are completely in the dark. It's going to make a massive difference, that starting of the game.
Without going down the whole great
you do realise you need the sun for energy
years ago. Is there an element of going from the sun? I can't even believe I'm asking this, but going from the sun into the shadows and the shadows into the sun that makes yellow easier to see than blue?
The only thing missing there is that you're not walking a dog.
Well, does that make? That might be a difference.
Say that again.
In the shadows, it might be harder to see the blue, and if you're going from... I want to move on from kit, but if you go from shadow to light or light shadow, yellow might be easier to see than dark blue.
Do you know who the pre-match entertainment is today? It's Pete Tong.
Yes.
I've got a feeling we might be going Pete Tong.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
Right, okay. Let's move on from kit colour then. Just back to the uncertainty around the club, and you mentioned both the men's and the women's team, Karen, and you are close to the club. You do know what goes on around the club. Do you think the uncertainty has affected players over the course of the last 4 months?
When I went there the other day, actually, and within the training ground, they kind of said no, they've just tried to focus on everything. But when you take a step back, I think it has, and especially I have to applaud Thomas Tuchel, you have to applaud Emma Hayes, where going through all the saga, they were the faces, the vocal point of everything. And realistically, how much, I know the women's team, actually, it kind of goes against the grain because they went and kicked on a gear, so it's hard to kind of say that. But my personal opinion is, I think it did, because both managers and the players had a lot to kind of consider and everything. Every time both teams played, it was always about that. It was never about the football, and I thought Thomas Tuchel in particular, he had a lot kind of thrown at him, and we saw in press conferences he was frustrated and he was just saying he's a human, he doesn't know, he's just trying to do his job. And I have to credit both Thomas Tuchel and Emma Hayes, so that's my opinion anyway, how well they conduct themselves and led when there was very little information from the club and the hierarchy coming out. They were the vocal and the face of it all.
And I suppose that where the uncertainty came from, Dion, is they weren't able to plan. They couldn't plan for the future because they weren't able to offer deals or negotiate contracts or whatever. And then that means players coming to the end of contracts are going to be uncertain, but teammates will then be uncertain about the future.
Yeah, just having that in and around the dressing room isn't great at all. You know, what you do and where you go, and you sign and you're not signing, what's happening with the club, we don't know. So it's very much a unstable situation. I think they're hopefully coming out the other end of it, and things will change for them, and they can get back to where they need to be with a nice strong squad. The manager's very, very good. I do believe they have the backbone of a very, very good squad, Chelsea. I like the manager, holds his players to accountable for performances as well. So they're in a good place for me, Chelsea. If they can get out of this buying the club, selling the club situation as soon as possible, get back to winning games and trophies.
Still Sheffield United 0, Nottingham Forest 1 at Bramall Lane. John Akers.
Sheffield United have come out in the second half, though, are on the front foot. Sander Berg's just had an effort, right foot, 12 yards over the crossbar, but they still look quite susceptible to the counter, and Alex Bruce is with me.
Yeah, good reaction from Sheffield United. It's what was needed to happen. The crowd have been up, they've carved a couple of decent opportunities. The one that you mentioned there was Sander Berg. But like you say, they're throwing a lot of bodies forward. I'm just a little bit worried about with the pace that they have up top of getting hurt again, and they can't afford to concede any more goals. 11
minutes of the second half gone. It's Sheffield United 0, Forest 1. Pretty sure Forest are only winning because they're playing in a luminous yellow and orange.
No shadows here, choppers.
I might live to regret that question. Leinster stretching their lead, Austin Harewood.
Yeah, they've been absolutely relentless so far today, Mark. They're so clinical, this Leinster side. Every time they get inside the Toulouse 22, they look like they're going to score. They've just gone further ahead with their third try of the afternoon, a second for wing James Lowe, crash balls through the forwards up the middle, and then simple hands for a simple score out wide. And Johnny Sexton's just got the conversion, so Leinster lead by 30 points to 10.
Back to Wembley, Kelly Summers has been talking to Alison.
It's FA Cup final day, Liverpool's first FA Cup final for 10 years. How are the players feeling? How much excitement is there for this one?
Yeah, we are really excited about this final. I mean, it's a target that we set from the beginning of the season. So we want to arrive in every final, and here we are for our second final in the season, and we will really fight for the title.
Lots of talk this season about the quadruple. Given the fact you dropped points in the league last weekend, does that put added emphasis on wanting to win this trophy? Now it looks like the Premier League title's a little bit harder to come by.
The Premier League title was always hard for us. Like, from the situation we came on January, 14 points behind. In the situation we are now, we are better comparing that. But of course, when you drop points in the title race, it's hard. But nothing that happens on the pitch affected us. We bounced back in the last match against Aston Villa, and now we are different competition, different game against a really tough opponent. We have to give 100% and maybe even more, that extra power to win against them.
You've had some good battles with Chelsea, of course, including the League Cup final this season. What sort of game do you think we should expect today?
It was an amazing game. I didn't play that much. We played that game. I was on the bench watching from the outside. It was an amazing game to watch. And being involved now in the final is really special for me. We expect the best of them as well, but we want to try to give our best and try to be better than them.
And finally, it's game number 60 of the season. You've played in every game possible so far this campaign as a group of players. How do you keep playing at the intensity that Jurgen Klopp wants you playing at?
It's not easy, but the mental game is part of our game as well. So the boss himself like to call us monster mentality. So to do that, we have to play with consistency. It's part of our game as well, and the intensity is our identity. So we must go with intensity if we wanted to reach the targets that we have.
Alison with Kelly Summers, Karen Carney and Dion Dublin, part of our commentary team at Wembley. We talk about Liverpool's high line, but one of the reasons they can play that high line is because of him, Karen.
Yeah, he can come out, can sweep, command it. It's a brave high line. You've seen recently how many teams have tried to exploit it. I mean, even Manchester City, when they played them, Manchester City, the lowest long-range passing team, I think 7% in the Premier League, and they had a right good go at it. But when you've got someone like him who's sharp off the line and can protect you, he's part of that as well. So and again, I think that's why today, Pulisic and Lukaku are going up there, going to try and exploit it, and you're right, he's going to have to be sharp off his line again to protect them.
It's also, Dion, as well as his quickness off his line, and Jamie Carragher did the analysis on this, didn't he, a month ago or so, but it's his one-on-one ability, and a bit like all the great keepers, it feels like he's got that battle half won as the striker's bearing down on him.
Yeah, because he makes his decision very, very quickly whether he's going to come and narrow the angle or stay on his line and force the forward or whoever's coming through on goal to make a decision quickly. He kind of puts them off with his positivity, and I think he does it so well. His starting position, like Kaz has just said, is so important. And as a defender, and I played there for a few years, if you know your keeper's going to be in a good position, you can kind of go even higher, leave more space for the keeper to sweep. They've got a great understanding, that defence and the keeper.
Dave, do you have stuff like Dave?
This is
Dave,
frantic.
when you were listening to the Alison interview, Dave took his headphones off in the studio and said to me, this kit colour thing is a nightmare to try and research. So bless him, he has been trying, but actually on the football, on Alison.
Yeah, well, the stats we were looking at previously, we discussed about his ability 1v1. He was saving Liverpool nearly an extra 8 goals in 1v1s and changing that momentum. He's also up there in terms of, I think only Nick Pope's got more keeper sweeper actions this season of coming off his line. He's got one of the highest starting positions, highest average actions in terms of the distance from his goal to where he's making an interception or he's picking up a loose ball. So it does give Liverpool a lot in that sort of perspective, but it will be interesting to see Lukaku in that space. Is he going to be quick enough to, maybe today his starting position might be a little bit higher than usual because of that threat in behind.
I can actually save Dave a job. I've got some research on the kits if you want.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. Chelsea wore yellow against Everton when they came from behind in the 2009 FA Cup final, and the last team that Liverpool encountered in a yellow kit in an FA Cup final, they lost in extra time to Arsenal in 1971.
Wow, that is seriously impressive. Great stats.
Do you feel slightly threatened in your role?
No, I feel like I could take a little bit of a step back now, and I don't have to go through 7,000 Wikipedia pages and looking what colour kit they wore that day. I was half thinking I'd have to get the video out and be like, okay, was it blue or not?
I think he's already thinking about calling himself Statman Dennis, Dave.
Mind you, strictly speaking, they're facts as opposed to being stats. So I think Dave's in the clear there.
Okay. Good job I'm in between the middle of you pair on that, honestly.
I mean, this has been some of the most painful build-up I've done this whole season, and that's saying something.
I actually have to come clean and give that credit to Paul Birch from BBC Sport. So
right, okay.
I can't make any claim to being a fact man. That was fact, by the way, before you say fat. I realised straight away as soon as I said that.
Let's hear from another one of the players involved today, Jorginho's with Kelly Summers.
Jorginho, it's been a slightly difficult season at times. It's been a long season, particularly given what's happened with the ownership. How important is it for Chelsea to end the season with a high by lifting the FA Cup today?
Of course, it's a really important game for us to end the season even better. It's been hard, it happened a lot, and I think winning a trophy is always important, and it's what Chelsea is all about, winning trophies.
Is there added motivation given the fact you came so close to beating Liverpool in the League Cup final?
It's always a massive game playing against them, so it's of course a motivation to win, especially being as a final, so we will try to do our best to win this trophy.
Your manager said in the week that you were feeling emotionally drained with everything that's gone on. How do the players feel?
Yeah, I think it's normal. It's normal because we can't deny it affects all of us. But we always try to put to the side and try to do the best job we can do to try to win games.
Jorginho with Kelly Summers. Bonnie Rig Rose have scored at Cowdenbeath in the League Two playoff relegation final. It says find out who plays in League Two in Scotland next season. So Bonnyrigg Rose now lead 4-0 on aggregate, and it looks like they'll be playing in League Two next season, and Cowdenbeath will drop out. He's had an interesting season, Jorginho, hasn't he, Karen Carney? There are times when it looks like the sheer number of games he's played, including the Euros last year, have caught up with him.
Yeah, look, it's a big ask for any player. I think it's not just him, it's a lot of players in the Premier League at times that have had little dips, but that's expected with the amount of games they've had to play, and specifically his role as well, and how people know about him and the change in which sometimes teams can put on him to try and stop him from playing out. It's been, I think even in the semi-final when Crystal Palace played, they didn't have who's the lad? I forgot his name, the lad on loan from
Conor
Chelsea.
Gallagher.
Yeah, he wasn't in the team, so Jorginho just had an absolute field day. But if you get players around him, it's a little bit difficult for him at times, but he's still a top quality player. The trophies that he's won, and he'll be massive today in that midfield, just trying to play similar roles to Thiago on the opposite side, so it'll be key today. But it's difficult as well when he probably hasn't had a partnership next to him consistently like this season. Kante's been out injured, Loftus-Cheek's had to come in, Kovacic has been injured, so a lot of that midfield has been kind of fragmented at times, and that doesn't help. When you're in the spine of the team in the middle, you need that consistency there.
I think patience is important. Sorry, Chavez. Today, I think not wanting to get forward with the first pass or the second pass or force the ball forward too quickly. I don't think that's the way this game's going to be. I think there's a little bit of patience needed in the midfield today. Take 2 or 3 passes, find a way through, a bit more of a game of chess, so to speak, rather than fast, because I just think you'll blow up with this heat.
But that's why Jorginho is so important to them, because he can dictate the pace of the game, and maybe the other midfielders that Chelsea have don't have that same metronomic effect.
Well, both Thiago and Jorginho control rhythm.
Yeah.
They decide when they want to go, when they want to slow it down, when they both sets of team look to those two types of players in a similar role, really. And you're right, like Dion said, you have to be mindful of the occasion, the weather, the considerations, the amount of games that people have played. There's a lot of big games to come, so both of them will be key in managing the rhythm as when to attack, when to slow it down.
I think one of the interesting ones from a stats perspective in terms of passes under pressure, Jorginho is ranked number 1 for Chelsea with 301, and I think that kind of highlights what the guys are saying, that when the squeeze is coming on, he's very much not going to play that low percentage pass in a sense. He's going to keep the ball moving, maybe try and play around the Liverpool press and break through the lines. Thiago is very similar for Liverpool in terms of passes under pressure as well, very top of the list there. So it's one of those things where both players are so important.
Let's get the thoughts of the Liverpool manager next. Kick-off just over 15 minutes away. He's been talking to Kelly Summers.
Jurgen, you've never won the FA Cup with Liverpool. How desperate are you to stop people like me saying that and win it today?
Oh, no, it's fine. It's the truth. The truth is always okay. We never have been here, so we never had really the opportunity to win it. You have to qualify for the final to get a chance, and that's all we need. And today we are here, yes, with this group, first time, and feels absolutely amazing, to be honest, and I can't wait.
Game number 60, I think it is, of the season for Liverpool. You played in every possible game so far. How do you keep lifting these players for these occasions?
If I would be always needed, that I do something special, it would be probably not possible. The boys itself, the occasions, the opportunities, the competitions, the wins, all these kind of things keep us going, honestly. When you tell me 60, a few years ago I would have probably have a breakdown here. Now you tell me 60 and it feels like, yeah, that's it. Let's go from here. Obviously, really important games for us coming up still, and especially this today. It's a massive one, and hopefully we are ready.
You have made changes again. We knew that Fabinho was going to miss out with injury, but I guess it's not bad having Jordan Henderson to be able to bring him in because he knows all about the big occasions.
Yeah, that's clear. So we have one injury actually, and it's now Fabinho. That's a bit unlucky in a position we don't have 12 players to choose from. But no, of course, Hendo played brilliantly in the last game. Played in general this season when he played on 6, really good season against Chelsea. It's not, we cannot defend only with one midfielder. We have to be all really involved, and we have to show all real desire in these moments, because Chelsea is just really a world-class team, and it will be a tough one, but yeah, that's normal in finals.
The sun is shining at Wembley. We're 15 minutes away from kickoff. We're about 5 minutes away from Abide With Me. Let's just go around the live sport that's taking place at the moment. There's still just a goal in it at Bramall Lane. John.
20 minutes plus added time remaining in the first leg of the Championship playoff semi-final. It is Sheffield United 0, Nottingham Forest 1, and Sheffield United have just enjoyed their best spell of the game, but without really testing the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper Bryce Samba. 2 changes have taken place. Baldock is on for Norwood for Sheffield United, and Forest have taken off Zinkernagel and brought Joe Lolly on. Alex Bruce is with me.
Yeah, Notts Forest have gone very deep. They've got that flat back 5 that Sheffield United are struggling to break down. They're having all the possession, and they just give the ball away.
Lolly straight into the action and into the penalty area. Pulls the trigger. Chance for Johnson. 2-0 Forest. Wow, that's massive. Brennan Johnson latches onto it and first time plants it into the top corner. There's a red flare on the pitch. For Forest fans in the top tier, it's absolute carnage. Limbs everywhere. They're dreaming of Wembley and maybe a return to the Premier League. It's Sheffield United 0, Nottingham Forest 2, Alex.
We spoke about it before the game, didn't we? It's a stupid mistake from Egan, I think it was. He was dispossessed. They were playing the ball around at the back. It's come to him. He's dollied on the ball, not quite sure what he's going to do. Tried to turn back. He's had it took off him by the substitute with fresh legs, Lolly. He gets his shot blocked, and there's Bronnan Johnson to follow up with the ball when it's played back, and it's a great finish into the top far right-hand corner. 2-0 Notts Forest.
20 years of age, 17th of the season with 10 assists. What a player he is, by the way. Red smoke fills the air. Sheffield United have it all to do. 19 minutes to go. Sheffield United 0, Forest 2.
I know Egan lost it, Alex, but the Sheffield United gave Brennan Johnson a free run as well.
Yeah, they did. They didn't get back quicker. That's been the difference between the two teams, Chappers. When Forest give the ball away, they've got back. They've chased back and got in their positions early. But Sheffield United have been the complete opposite. When they give the ball away at the top end of the pitch, they've left themselves far too open for my liking, and they've been punished.
Sheffield United 0, Nottingham Forest 2. 20 minutes left in that game. Still Cowdenbeath 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 1 in the Scottish League 2 playoff. Bonnyrigg Rose will be playing in League 2 next season, and it looks like Leinster are going to the final of the Champions Cup. Let's go to Austin.
Yeah, they still lead to lose by 30 points to 10, Mark. Just over 15 minutes left to go, and every tackle now, every pass is being roared on by this home crowd in Dublin. They know their side are almost through to another European Cup final. That island spine of Gibson Park, Sexton and Henshaw in the Leinster midfield still dictating things as they have done all game. It's Leinster 30, Toulouse 10.
Back to Wembley, Dion Dublin and Karen Carney. Jurgen Klopp with Kelly there. You spoke to Klopp during the week as well, Dion. Thought it was quite interesting that he sort of alluded to the fact that maybe 2 or 3 years ago he'd be getting a lot more angry about his team playing 60 games, but he's in a better place to cope with it now, probably because of the options available to him.
Yeah, squad of players, he's got a lot of quality. I think Liverpool, they've just been behind City in regards when he looks over his shoulder on the bench. Has he got enough? Has he got players that are as good as his first 11? Now he has, completely as good as, on a par when it comes to squads. So very chilled out man, really nice bloke to speak to, and he wants so much more. He said he's just starting. I'm just starting with this squad of players, Dion.
Yeah, well, he's got some frightening options who are just going to develop over the coming seasons. So Statman Dave is a Manchester United fan, just grimaces in front of me at that thought. Where's this going to be won and lost statistically, Dave? Tell me.
I think it's going to be Diaz and Robertson down the right-hand side for Chelsea. I think that's going to be where the battle is. We know how good Reece James is going forward in terms of his creation. He's so key for Chelsea in that attribute, but it is going to be getting behind him. We saw Vinicius Junior have one moment in the Champions League and really open up the game there. But if Jurgen Klopp does win the FA Cup today, he'll be the first Liverpool manager in history to win the top flight league title, the Champions League or European Cup, the EFL Cup and the FA Cup. So big point for him.
Dave, thank you very much. Statman Dave with us this afternoon on 5 Live Sport, and that's a really good battle down Chelsea's right, Liverpool's left, Karen, isn't it? Of how much Diaz can push Reece James back, or how much Reece James can get beyond Diaz and push Robertson back.
It really is, and also Trent and Pulisic, that would be interesting. I think Pulisic will peel out on Trent's side as well, so the flanks will be really key. But I have to say, Chappers, was just listening to the band there out on the pitch. The flags have gone up now. Liverpool are singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." Chelsea responding back as well, and it's such, honestly, I've got a bit of shivers. Sorry I changed the subject, but it's so amazing here at the moment, the atmosphere, and the sun's out, it's glorious. Oh, what a day.
I mean, this is a good pre-match ceremony, John Murray.
It really is. I'm with Karen on this, and let's not forget, this is the first time we've had a full house for the FA Cup final since the pandemic began. So it really is a reason to celebrate and be thankful and to enjoy this scene in the sunshine. And that scene has the massed bands of the Guards division slowly marching into position in the middle of the pitch, and that the mass bands incorporates the bands of the Coldstream Guards, the Irish and the Welsh Guards, and they're now in position. They're standing on this big red pitch cover, which actually has written on it the names of all 729 clubs that played in the FA Cup this season, this 150th anniversary year. In that very first season, only 12 clubs were involved. And now it's time. Tradition dictates for the singing of the cup final hymn, Abide With Me.
Gives me the shivers watching this, I tell you guys.
Come on, let's go! 150 years of the FA Cup, the FA Cup final hymn, the Challenge Cup final hymn, Wembley singing Abide With Me, can get you every time, Karen, can't it?
Oh, like I said, I got shivers, and I turned to Dion and I went, it's class. Honestly, I said it last year, I missed it, and this is just this scene. I just always feel blessed when I get to come here. I can't believe this is a job, like, just to watch this game, see the atmosphere, hear the atmosphere, feel it. Honestly, this is what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, it has a sponsor's name now, Mark, the FA Cup, the Emirates FA Cup. We've got a 4:45 kickoff, which, holding up our hands, you know, that is dictated by the broadcasters. But there are still some things that money can't buy, and that is one of them.
It is, and also, I mean, I know we've had a ridiculous discussion about the kit, but there is something about the fans, actually, on a red v blue FA Cup final. I know, you know, fans who play, you know, Leeds might think differently, or Tottenham might think differently, but
red v yellow.
Wembley with the fans, John, red v blue does look great.
Honestly, Mark, being inside Wembley Stadium now, it looks right because it's all red to our right and it's all blue to the left.
The teams are on their way out at Wembley. They'll be presented to the dignitaries very shortly. Let's get a final thought from as Jurgen Klopp bangs the Liverpool crest on his tracksuit top and looks at all those Liverpool fans away to his right. And the fireworks and the flares have gone off on the stadium roof of red and blue. And the big flamethrowers that are in front of the fans are also going off at the moment, which are not needed on a day like this. When you get a cold day and those go off, they can be pleasantly welcome, but not on a day like today. Who are you going for, Dion? Who do you think is going to do this and how?
Well, the midfield's got to win the game today, and like I've said many times over the past 2 days, I'm married to a Scouser who's a Liverpool fan, and if I want to get back in the house, I'm going to go Liverpool.
Karen?
I have to agree. I'm going to go with Liverpool on this. I just think they've got match winners and on the bench as well. I know Chelsea.
Liverpool 3-2.
I'm just thinking, I've watched Liverpool a couple of times. Sometimes they just breeze through the game, and then all of a sudden someone just turns it on. But they have to be mindful. You know, they're playing Pulisic, they're playing Lukaku, they're threatened behind, and Chelsea haven't done well this season, you would say, in parts, and especially over the last couple of weeks. But that doesn't rule out one-off games, and this is an FA Cup. This is an FA Cup final, so it's going to be tight. It could go all the way. I could even go to extra time, chappers.
Jordan Henderson at the moment just introducing Prince William to the final few Liverpool players, and then we will be ready for the national anthem, won't we, Ian Dennis?
Yes, we will. We've got the FA's president, His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge. He's currently leading the traditional presentation party, which also includes its chair, Debbie Hewitt, the Emirates Airlines Chief Commercial Officer, Adnan Kazim, and the FA Challenge Cup Committee Chair, Rebecca Capelhorn, who have just been greeting the players down below, as now we have the national anthem.
Not like United. No glory. God save the Queen! Alright, let's have a good game!
So, at the moment in the live sport that's going on, Leinster continue to lead Toulouse by 30 points to 17 in the Champions Cup. It's still Sheffield United 0, Nottingham Forest 2 in the Championship playoff semi-final first leg. They've got 8 minutes to go in that game, and it's Cowdenbeath 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 1. Bonnyrigg Rose lead 4-0 on aggregate, and they will be playing in Scottish League 2 next season. Now it's all about the men's FA Cup final. You can watch this on BBC television as well. Chelsea against Liverpool at Wembley. John Murray, Karen Carney, Dion Dublin, and first of all, Ian Dennis.
Thanks, Mark. Well, it's the perfect day for an FA Cup final, the 141st FA Cup final in its 150th year. As the two teams have just broken from a team photo with the match officials holding a Ukrainian flag with the words "Peace" written on the front of it, images that I'm sure will be going around the world as everybody focuses on this showpiece event. And these are the two teams. As we've already discussed, Chelsea are all in yellow, and they have Mendy in goal, a back three of Chalobah, Rudiger and Silva. James and Alonso are the wing-backs. Kovacic is fit. He plays in midfield alongside Jorginho, but there is no Kai Havertz with a hamstring injury. So it's Lukaku, Pulisic and Mason Mount. Liverpool making 5 changes from the side that beat Aston Villa in midweek. Notably, Konate is preferred to Matip in the heart of their defence. So Alisson is in goal. Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Konate and Robertson the defence. A midfield three of Keita, Henderson and Thiago. Thiago, who you might recall was injured in the warm-up in the League Cup final with a hamstring injury and had to sit that one out. But of course there is no Fabinho, who has travelled with the Liverpool party, but of course they're hoping that he'll be fit for the Champions League final. And a front three of Mo Salah, Sadio Mane and Luis Diaz. Liverpool are all in red, Craig Pawson is the referee taking charge for an FA Cup final for the first time. He did take charge of a League Cup final 4 years ago. It's a big occasion for the match officials as we welcome listeners from the BBC World Service who've been enjoying the build-up with Lee and Scott. So wherever you are in the world, a pleasure as always to have your company. Here we are at Wembley Stadium on a very hot, late spring afternoon where the sun is more or less encompassing the half away towards our left-hand side, and that is where the royal blue of Chelsea supporters are housed in the 3 tiers here at Wembley Stadium. And that is the way that Liverpool will be playing in this first half, in their all-red from right to left as we look, defending the masses of Liverpool supporters who've made, I was going to say from Merseyside, but I was speaking to a family from South Wales who've made the trek here to Wembley to support their beloved Reds, as everybody here takes the knee in the ongoing fight against discrimination. And we are underway for the 141st FA Cup final.
Come on!
And for only the second time, the same 2 sides who contested the League Cup final are meeting in the other domestic final. It happened, of course, Arsenal against Sheffield Wednesday in 92-93. Arsenal prevailing on both occasions. Will Liverpool add the League Cup or the FA Cup to the League Cup title that they won in late February? We'll find out. But Dion, if we're in for a repeat of that contest, then we're in for a treat,
yes,
certainly.
I'll be happy if it's anywhere near that game, I've got to say. It's amazing how Liverpool just get straight into their stride. It really is. Virgil van Dijk hitting a beautiful crossfield ball to Salah. It's the width that's going to help Liverpool.
Speaking to Paul Joyce of the Times ahead of kick-off, and he was telling me about Thiago, who's just hit a ball forward. He's actually only played 16 minutes of football against Chelsea this season. He had a hip injury, so was unable to play at Stamford Bridge. And of course, as we said, that warm-up when he was injured in the League Cup final, for which he was distraught about. But here he is. Both sides have actually made 3 changes from that League Cup final, which was 0-0, but it was incident-packed. Chances galore for both sides. Mason Mount in particular squandered 2 very good ones for Chelsea, and a total of 4 goals disallowed, 3 where Chelsea were ruled out. They'll be hoping for better fortune today, Karen.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, just see there's a little glimpse of what Chelsea are looking to do. As soon as they win it, hit as Lukaku as quick as possible, try and catch Konate and Virgil van Dijk out. But Liverpool now, when you play against a back 5 of what Chelsea are starting with at times, Alonso does go quite high now, actually, how they're pressing. But you see Diaz and Salah have to keep the width, and that will pin the back line of Chelsea back.
Here is Robertson, forward to Thiago. Luis Diaz on the halfway line, back to Robertson midway through his own half, pursued by Mason Mount. And then Liverpool, whose supporters are in fine voice, all the way back to Alisson, the Brazilian goalkeeper, towards Van Dijk and his forward ball, as Mane comes very, very deep to collect that ball midway through the Liverpool half and finds Thiago, who carries it over the halfway line and then runs away from Kovacic, who's done remarkably well to recover from that. Such a poor challenge from Dan James that resulted in the Leeds United player being dismissed. That's a real boost for Chelsea, the fact that Kovacic is fit.
It is, but you know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking how long could he last, and Jorginho as well, both of them kind of coming into it last minute or so. So of course it's great he's starting, but my thing is, how long will he last? But he looks good so far, looks comfortable, and like Thomas Tuchel said in his interview, he was happy with how he trained yesterday.
And also when he was asked about why they're not wearing blue, he said, "We want to win in yellow." Wouldn't really answer the question whether it was down to superstition. Konate cuts out the ball that was played up towards Lukaku, and then Robertson with a high back pass towards Alisson. Nice little touch there from Alisson, greeted by the applause from the Liverpool supporters. Across to Alexander-Arnold, his forward ball. Sliding into the challenge was Thiago Silva. Henderson hits it into the air, tries to get Luis Diaz away, but he's beaten to the ball by Reece James. And now Chalobah forward, and then Chalobah gets it back, and this breakthrough season. And in the sunshine, Mendy was actually voted man of the match in that League Cup final. Didn't really get the ball properly away. Liverpool have it now. Mane finds Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz creates the opening, crosses, and is sliding forward on that far side, unable to get on the end of it. It was a real opportunity for Liverpool. It's actually Thiago who's breaking. In comes the cross now from the right-hand side, and the header from Mo Salah just drops over the top and out for a goal kick. 0-0 deal.
That is amazing from Liverpool. Going left to right, keeping it nice and patient.
The right side of this Chelsea defense. Ball turns over, bad giveaway from Chelsea in build-up. But these are the moments that Jurgen Klopp wants from Diaz, one-on-one with Chalobah, and then providing runners in and around the 18. This ball staying in play and eventually turning into a good opportunity for Salah. But this is exactly what Klopp and Liverpool want. Diaz 1v1 in good spots in the attack.
Pumped for by Robertson. Hustled off it. Liverpool appearing at Wembley today for the 43rd time in their oh-so-distinguished history.
Look at the possession on Liverpool right now.
21 wins, 15 defeats. Diaz.
It's a good run from Diaz.
Salah.
Go on, Salah. Ooh.
Salah with a
deflection.
Attempt to play the ball in. It actually has done some damage. It's Jorginho who's down. Well, he's out of play for a corner, but first Jorginho may need some attention.
Yeah, this completely catches Jorginho off guard here. Salah coming to his inside of his left, trying to whip at the back post.
Salah smacked it Jorginho in the face with the ball. Jorginho, yeah.
But it's the positions where Diaz picks up that is a real nightmare for Thomas Tuchel in this Chelsea defense.
Corner to Liverpool.
He can come wide, he can come inside. There's just a lot of fluidity to the front three of Liverpool, but yet all three have something in common. Pace and dynamism. Difficult afternoon for this Chelsea defense.
Okay, Alexander-Arnold's corner. Run away by Rudiger. There's Thiago.
You guys are saying Liverpool 67%, Chelsea 33%.
In pursuits. General consensus seems to be that Liverpool start as favourites today by dint of their recent form, but it's difficult to predict anything in the context of a cup final.
Well, especially when you've seen the three previous meetings this year. All three have ended up in draws, and it was 22 penalties shootout that gave Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool the Carabao Cup final. And yet, so that's why when you look at both of these teams, I think they're evenly matched. And I think for Chelsea, it's difficult to look at their recent run of form because they're really in purgatory. They don't have a ton to play for, and yet a cup final, anything can happen. And I think Thomas Tuchel is hoping that recent form with his front three proved to be the difference.
Diaz.
Oh,
just
nearly.
Salah by a yard or so. Retreat by Henderson. Liverpool making most of the early running here. Alexander-Arnold.
Good chip. Who do I support? I support City. But I just know that Liverpool's going to win this.
Any shot of winning this FA Cup final today is, yes, it's how they defend the front three. In so many ways, Mane can peel off a center back. It allows Diaz to be the vertical threat. Then Salah's coming off the back post. But then it's in these moments when they win possession, can they have any kind of retention on the ball? If they can't, then I'd be shocked if Liverpool ends up not winning this one, because so much of this is going to be about playing into the feet of Lukaku, having some spell of possession, taking pressure off this back line against this Liverpool attack.
Alexander-Arnold. It's a delightful ball for Luis Diaz, and Diaz in here. Mendy made the save.
Oh, come on!
Clearance was desperate.
Oh.
And Keita with a wild follow-up.
Close, people, close. Good attack from Liverpool.
Off the hook for the time being.
Well, and Mendy's frustrated with his back line, but this is the unpredictability of the front three. Watch the spaces where Mane picks up. Mane's not your traditional number 9. He's going to peel off, so now neither Silva or Rudiger have any understanding. Do they drop it in the midfield? And if they don't, now you've got some real pace in wide areas to open up the game with Salah and Diaz. What a fantastic start here at Wembley for Liverpool.
Marks out of 10 for Trent Alexander's pass with the outside of the right boot to release
Fantastic. I still feel he's understated and underrated with the ability as a right fullback in this system to be a great chance creator and have the ability to play those types of balls in and behind a defense that Jurgen Klopp loves to see his front three running onto. I think you would have to say it's been a dream start for Liverpool here at Wembley.
And a problematic one for Chelsea, for whom Thiago Silva, the veteran Brazilian, is now in need of further treatment. The second Chelsea player to be down inside the opening 10 minutes. Chelsea going today with Thiago Silva flanked by Rudiger and Trevor Chalobah on the other side. No place in the starting 11 for Cesar Azpilicueta. Anders Christensen. Ismail Assar is an option off the bench. Thiago Silva provides such a calming presence, the glue that knits things together at the back for Chelsea.
And mind you, similar to the Carabao Cup final, we saw Mendy step up in big moments with some big saves, and this one doing a real good job of not biting to Diaz, opening his hips, trying to go to that back post, come across his body. Good save from Mendy, but this is a huge concern right now for Chelsea.
Chalobah to the rescue after Mendy's initial block. Chalobah just 22 years of age. The man who plays next to him, Thiago Silva, 37. Alexander-Arnold. Chelsea appearing in the showpiece for the 5th time in the last 6 seasons. For 5 of their starting 11. Mount and Rudiger, Alonso, James, Jorginho. It's a 3rd consecutive FA Cup final start. Beaten by Arsenal in 2020, by Leicester, and that wonderful goal from Yuri Tielemans a year ago.
Oh, what a flick.
Thiago. Biggest difference between last year's final and this is we have happily a full house of 90,000.
Chelsea's getting risky. Very risky.
Less than a quarter full because of pandemic restrictions for the corresponding game in 2021. It's the first full house for the FA Cup final since 2019. Keita. Mane. Trying to slip in Diaz. It's been a frequent tactic and a successful one too. And Diaz trying to find an angle himself. Now to Robertson. And Keita. Alexander-Arnold. All Liverpool.
Yeah, Chelsea's going to have to find a way to slow this game down because it's being played at a pace that suits Liverpool. It allows them to press, which they do better than any team in the Premier League, but more so it's just taken Chelsea completely out of this game. And they're chasing shadows within the game of shadows on the field here at Wembley because it is a difficult moment right now without Silva on the field and the front three running rapid for Liverpool.
Mane, out of corner.
During that last throw, and it looks like Silva's been brought back onto the field here. So Chelsea had 11 men.
Forward in stately fashion comes Van Dijk. Is there anything that he does that isn't stately? Alexander-Arnold. At that time Lukaku. Mane. Van Dijk still forward.
Good attacking from Liverpool.
Temporary relief for Chelsea.
But at some point, this back line for Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea need to push further up the field. At some point, they've got to get the Liverpool back line defending in their own third. And now with Lukaku, with a real reference point that you could play off of, it's okay at times if you need to be a little bit more direct to try to take the pressure off of this back line of Chelsea and force Liverpool to defend a little bit more than they want to. But right now, it just feels like Chelsea's second best to everything.
Here come Liverpool again. And it's the usual outlets. It's actually going to be halted by an offside flag, but this tactic of trying to release Luis Diaz in particular at every opportunity, is that a weakness that Liverpool have identified on the right-hand side of the Chelsea backline?
Yes, because I think the Carabao Cup gave them a real good insight of the success and maybe the vulnerabilities from Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea. The game may have been scoreless, but Diaz had some real success in 1v1 moments, particularly behind. In that game in the Carabao Cup final, that was Azpilicueta playing as that wingback. Today it's Reece James. But the same defender was Chalobah against Diaz. And so far in this one, they've dictated that, you know what, Diaz is going to be vertical. He's going to play more as a target winger and play direct and play in behind. And they have found some real success in that early going here.
Pulisic. Thiago Silva. James. Lukaku, that seemed to clip his arm, and then Pulisic with the follow-up as Liverpool look to the referee for a whistle.
Yeah, but this is a good indication of where Chelsea can maybe hurt Liverpool. We've talked about the big shoes that Jordan Henderson needs to fill without Fabinho in this lineup. And it's those little pockets of space in and around Lukaku that Pulisic and Mount can occupy, can look for second balls, can look for knockdowns off of Lukaku. That's a good look into how Chelsea can attack Liverpool today.
Kovacic. A free kick in a position of opportunity for Chelsea.
It's a fantastic step here from Kovacic. Just step into that pocket and force Thiago into a defensive moment. Referee making the right decision here. Now a dangerous set piece for Chelsea against the run of play.
Run of play has been almost entirely in Liverpool's favour to this point. Sun temporarily disappearing behind cloud. Absent for a moment. It's Alonso.
Ooh. That has some heat on it. That shot.
Salah. Alexander-Arnold. Spin keeps the ball in play. Advantageously for Mane.
Ooh, crossed the box from Liverpool.
Chelsea were caught napping as Mane went about his moment of wizardry. By the rotation of the ball. It's taken from the wrong place, says Craig Pawson, the referee. He's wanting a word or two with Jorginho. And it's Mane and it's Mendy. And Chelsea looks so utterly fragile. Every time Liverpool have the ball, it turns into a meaningful, dangerous attack.
Well, especially when you think about where this ball is being played from Jordan Henderson. This is right through the middle. I mean, there's no pressure on the ball from Henderson whatsoever, and so he's allowed to turn and find space and look for that little clip ball over the top. I think Mendy does a fantastic job of reading the play and being very committed to come off his line. And in that moment, they needed a keeper sweeper to come off that line and be there as an extra defender, but it does feel very flat and fragile from Chelsea in the early going.
What is it about Chelsea and goalkeepers at Wembley? Kepa watches on. He was brought off the bench at the tail end of extra time in the League Cup final. And played a pivotal part in the penalty shootout that ensued.
She borrowed your hat from the Kentucky Derby.
Unkind, unnecessary, but expected. And Liverpool continue to pour forward. This time through their left back, Robertson.
Good attack from Liverpool.
It's just really quick. Two-touch passing, runners off the ball, runners coming from different angles. Now we're finally seeing
I'll be right back and we're going to get some snacks.
Get into the attack for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. Very few Chelsea players in and around Robertson. He moves forward, but again, good quick transition from Liverpool to get into the final third.
Relieved to hear the whistle. Chelsea's form of late has been less than certain. Only 2 wins in their last 6 league games. They've gone 14 matches unbeaten. They've suffered 4 defeats in their subsequent 11. And these are 2 busy teams. Liverpool playing their 60th fixture of the season and Chelsea their 61st. James. Here's Mason Mount. And Pulisic! Well, he knows what it feels like to score on this ground in an FA Cup final, and he was very, very close to repeating the trick.
Yeah, but the kind of attack that we saw in the Carabao Cup final, where are the spaces that make Liverpool the most vulnerable? Behind Robertson and behind Alexander-Arnold. And at times it can be direct. You don't even need to win the ball, but now you've got him in open field. Now you've got spaces coming forward. Reece James coming inside. Good ball in from Mason Mount, and Pulisic with a wonderful opportunity to give Chelsea a lead. But those are the kinds of balls that can really expose Liverpool and that back line. And that was a fantastic ball in from Mount to Pulisic.
1 or 2 signs that Chelsea are stirring at last?
Well, they've weathered the storm early on. Yes, they've been a little flat-footed. They've been second best to most of the 50-50 balls. Late challenge there from Jorginho. But the truth of the matter is it's still scoreless. And when you can get Robertson and Alexander-Arnold defending behind those spaces to the left and right of the 2 center backs, they can be exposed, especially without Fabinho in this lineup.
Fabinho, the most significant absentee for Liverpool today, victim of a hamstring strain. Henderson. Naby Keita. Sadio Mane. Thiago. Chalobah. Snapping into the challenge. No foul. Meetings between these teams, Chelsea have won just one. Thiago. Keita. Salah. Konate, Henderson. Diaz. Once more Keita. Liverpool still enjoying the lion's share of the possession. Jordan Henderson. The only man on the pitch today who was involved in the last meeting of these teams in an FA Cup final 10 years ago.
I tell you, Liverpool are all over this team, all over Chelsea.
Pulisic, Alonso free on the near side. And Pulisic has played him in, and Marcus Alonso saw
Chelsea
the daylight
nearly
very rapidly blocked out by the giant Alisson.
But again, better from Chelsea, having a little bit more patience in possession, breaking that initial line of pressure from Liverpool, and then ultimately finding some space in open field.
Mane now. Thiago. Nothing the worse for wear, Alisson, after that save.
Liverpool's keeper's injured, he's hobbling.
And he does have an issue. He's signalling in the direction of the bench to say, look, I need assistance here.
But again, it was the patience from Chelsea that opened up this Liverpool defense. And we talked so much in the pregame about just having that little bit of patience to break that initial line of pressure, because when you do against Liverpool, you can find yourself some real space. Great position there from Pulisic to drive it right through the middle, wait for the commitment of the defender, and then Alonso's first touch just lets him down just a little bit for Alisson to come off his line in a good spot. But great spot there from Pulisic to open up that back line. And Thomas Tuchel has to be quite pleased over the last 5 to 7 minutes as Chelsea's grown into the game and had themselves two real good opportunities for that opening goal.
It's prolonged treatment for Alisson. It's the most outstanding of goalkeepers. Chris Morgan, the physio, attending to him. To burrow deep inside his bag to find the right piece of equipment for the situation. Gives the opportunity for an impromptu tutorial from Tuchel.
And if only that first touch is a little bit better. I think Alisson's in a difficult spot there, because then Alonso has the right angle to hit it to the back post. But it's the follow through from Alonso that comes into the knee, right knee of Alisson, that leaves him shaken up.
Contact was made with more than one area of Alisson's body there. Praveen Kelleher would be the replacement.
Appreciate the new subscriber.
The Carabao Cup final.
Appreciate the like on the video.
What have you made of the first half hour of the 141st FA Cup final?
I mean, no real surprise. It hasn't been played at the pace that we saw in late February in the Carabao Cup final, but it has been dictated at Liverpool's pace. But I just felt like with Thomas Tuchel having real good success against Jurgen Klopp being unbeaten in his last 5 games, this game was going to be highly contested. All 3 games this year have ended up in a draw. And now Chelsea's all of a sudden grown into the game a little bit and arguably have had the 2 best opportunities of the game to open up the scoring. So now all of a sudden can Liverpool be mindful of when Chelsea gets into open field? Do they have enough to cover up? But now big concerns here for Liverpool as Salah's down.
We've got a catalogue of players going down in the first half. Early in the game it was Jorginho and then Thiago Silva of Chelsea. Natalie Alisson, and now, most disturbingly, Salah. And of course, any star player wearing Liverpool red that goes down today, the worry is not just can they continue in this game, can they play a part in the title run-in, and will they, 2 weeks today, be available to play in Paris against Real Madrid in the Champions League final?
Well, that was the biggest news midweek, wasn't it? Fabinho, many expected he wouldn't be available for this one, but there were 100% commitment that he would be available for the Champions League final. I think that's why there's more pressure on Liverpool for the final today. Just because it's a fantastic accomplishment that on May 15th, as Jota looks like he's getting ready to come into this, that you're still involved in 4 competitions, having won one of those. And yet there's still a remote possibility that you could only end up with 1. And that's why I think there was bigger pressure on Liverpool today, because of the type of season they have had.
Salah's got a minor injury.
Chelsea's just looking for something to redeem their season and to make up for some of the lost cause, where I think Liverpool's trying to rewrite history. Therein lies the pressure for Jurgen Klopp.
Well, the concern etched on the visage of Jurgen Klopp, and sadly not for the first time we see Mohamed Salah invalided out of a major final whilst representing Liverpool. Of course, it happened in a Champions League final. This decision may have been made in part to protect him for the upcoming Champions League final, but in terms of replacements, Diogo Jota would be pretty high on anyone's list.
Salah looks like he pulled his groin muscle.
A player with 30 goals this season and replace him with someone who's tallied 21. Here's Pulisic, and a chance for Pulisic. And it was intercepted from a slightly mishit ball by Konate.
But it's been a decent first half for Christian Pulisic, because he's picked up some spaces more central than in wide areas, and it's found himself some good 1v1 moments. Great touch here from Mount to allow Pulisic to run off of him. But he had an opportunity to open up the scoring. He laid off a great ball to Alonso, and there another good one Now all of a sudden the front three of Chelsea finding a little bit more rhythm in the final third.
Christian Pulisic emulating John Harkes in 1993 in starting the finals of both the League Cup and the FA Cup. Was the last time that the same two teams contested the two major domestic cup finals in England. Arsenal beat the Owls of Sheffield Wednesday twice in '93. Mane. This is Diogo Jota. And Trent Alexander-Arnold. Liverpool's next league game, and they do still have a chance of reeling in Manchester City, is at Southampton on Tuesday evening. 3 points behind City. 2 games to play and an inferior goal difference as Alexander-Arnold. I wonder whether his luck might have been in. It's Thiago. Diaz. Alexander-Arnold again. Keita. The effervescent Liverpool football of the opening quarter of an hour. The game is settled, and so have Chelsea.
I think that's part of Kovacic and Jorginho over the last, I'd say, 15 minutes have done a good job of shoring up the midfield. And so what we saw in those first 15 minutes were the ability of Liverpool to play between the gaps to then open up the back line. Now it's been much more compact from Chelsea, and it's more difficult for Liverpool to play through them.
I saw a shot there of some of the legions of Chelsea supporters. They touched by the Chelsea first team players in action today. They've bought tickets for the club's youth team players so that they can attend. Because of the UK government sanctions, Chelsea as a club unable to provide tickets for the youngsters. So the first team players stepped into the breach. Canate. Diaz. Andrew Robertson. Mane. Diaz. Alexander-Arnold. Henderson. Keita. Henderson. Mane. Cleanly won by Kovacic. That's neatly done by Pulisic. Lukaku. Sense that Chelsea have shrugged off their early problems, and they really weren't in the game. And in grave danger of conceding. And they are at least carrying a sporadic threat at the other end of the pitch.
But it's also been more proactive on their defensive approach.
Lukaku, expertly marshalled by Van Dijk.
They've done a more collective, I'd say, job of just surrounding the Liverpool attacking players. And also, I think it's so important that Chelsea do have moments of possession. They don't need to dominate possession, but they've got to have moments where they have a good spell of it, take pressure off their back line, but allow Mount and Pulisic to push further up the field to play off of Lukaku. And it's been a quiet first half, to say the least, from Romelu Lukaku. And I think at times, with his pace and his ability to pull off the defender the way we so often saw in Italy and with the Belgian national teams, I think at times, against these two center backs at Liverpool, I think he's got to be a little bit more diverse with his runs and pull off the shoulder. Maybe use the space in the gaps to pull him off. Remember, that was Kai Havertz in the Carabao Cup final. It's a little bit more unpredictable, more of a false nine approach, but it's oftentimes the ones that give Jurgen Klopp and his back line the most questions.
Jurgen Klopp is questioning the lack of a free kick there.
That should have been a free kick. That should have been a free kick for sure. I agree with Klopp. I agree with Klopp.
Liverpool manager to bring the FA Cup back to Anfield, Rafael Benitez in 2006. That's Chelsea boss Antonio Conte, 2018.
Nearly half time.
Now Chelsea with purpose and with Lukaku. Trying to hook it back in for Mount.
Dangerous from Chelsea.
Being played at a more sedate pace at the moment. Rip-roaring opening from Liverpool. Liverpool with a prolific front line, watched by their predecessors. Ian Rush on the left and Sir Kenny Dalglish on the right. Ian Rush still holds the record for most Liverpool goals scored at Wembley Stadium. 11 in total. Keita. Diaz for once off the right. Alexander-Arnold. Jota. And the point man, who was Thiago, finding Henderson and Alexander-Arnold once more. Shalabar's header. Konate.
Blasted over the bar.
So half-time beginning to loom on the horizon, and at the interval we'll have analysis, expert opinion from two former cup winners, Steve Nicol and Craig Burley, in the company of Dan Thomas. This taking place in front of the watching England national team manager Gareth Southgate, and on the left there his assistant Steve Holland. He used to have the same role at Chelsea. And is wearing blue. Just rather sad that his former club isn't. It does seem a shame on a showpiece occasion such as this, when there's no earthly reason why it can't be red against blue, that Chelsea decide to change to yellow.
Although it is two former Dortmund managers, so maybe Tuchel wanted to
offside,
catch Klopp off guard a little bit. I'm trying to make sense of it, John. I got nothing for you.
You're stretching
I got nothing for you.
Sorry, you can have a rest in a minute. It's half time coming up.
They can't all be winners, John.
Just a few of them were. It'd be nice, though, wouldn't it?
I think the neutral fan sitting at home hopes there's a winner soon enough. Otherwise, we're looking at a repeat of the Carabao Cup final, aren't we?
The full distance, 120 minutes, and then 22 penalty kicks. Since 1999, the prospect of an FA Cup final replay has been removed from the schedule. Same as the Carabao Cup. Extra time then, if necessary, penalties. In the long and distinguished history of this competition, only 2 finals have gone to penalty kicks, and the last of them involved Liverpool in 2006 when they ultimately overcame West Ham. Mane, with options either side. He's chosen Jota. Henderson. Thiago on for Robertson. And Jota with a chance.
Good effort.
And as good a chance as Liverpool have fashioned in this first half.
And we've seen very little from Robertson in the final third for Liverpool. He's been more worried about that direct attack from Chelsea on the counter, but this is a wonderful clip ball in, just at the right pace, the right angle for Jota to run onto. And since he's come to Liverpool, more often than not, he's done better with an opportunity like that. That is a wasted opportunity for Jurgen Klopp in Liverpool, but a great ball in from Robertson.
Into a significant chunk of additional time we go. Have been on the pitch on 4 separate occasions during this first half.
He's there.
FA Cup final double-header at Wembley Stadium this weekend. Tomorrow it's the Women's FA Cup final. Chelsea involved in that as well. Emma Hayes' team taking on Manchester City. Here's Lukaku! Probably had to take it first time.
Absolutely, but again, it's different. It's now on an angle. He's not playing with his back to goal. He's in between the 2 center backs instead of occupying one. And so now both Konate and Virgil van Dijk, they don't really know where Lukaku is in this moment because he's peeled off the defender. Now it gives them an opportunity to run on that chance. That's the diversity of the types of runs you want from your number 9 up front, in particular against 2 big, strong, physical center backs that Liverpool have. Great opportunity for Chelsea.
Now with a free kick.
It's been a rough first half for Jorginho. Immediately taking a ball off the face early on in this one, now being rolled up the backside on that right ankle.
As we were of tomorrow's Women's FA Cup final, you can enjoy it with us on ESPN+. Coverage begins at 9:20 in the morning Eastern Time. Chelsea against Manchester City. Discussion about the relevance and the importance of the FA Cup. This is still an occasion that certainly captures the imagination of the British public. It gets one of the biggest TV audiences of the year, season in, season out. Broadcast by the 2 main free-to-air terrestrial networks simultaneously. And it's the sort of game on which everyone, not just keen football fans, has an opinion, has a view, maybe has a wager. Time was the only live football match on British television this season. It's a change just a tad. Put that into sharper context, when Chelsea won the FA Cup against Leeds United in 1970, in a replay at Old Trafford, the television audience was 28 million, which was more than half of the population. It was and remains appointment viewing. That's half-time, and we have a similar situation to the Carabao Cup final, which these two sides contested.
I'm still sticking to 3-1, but that's half-time, people.
Plenty of action and talking points, a few near misses, quite a few injuries along the way, including, most notably, Mohamed Salah. But much for our panel to discuss, with a half-time score at Wembley Stadium in the FA Cup final of Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0.
Then at half-time, neither side quite at their best, Craig, but both having chances.
Well, I thought it looked a bit worrying for Chelsea early on. Obviously, when Liverpool come out, the trap's really on fire, particularly down that left-hand side. The early ball in behind for Diaz. There's no doubt that Reece James is not playing as high as he was at the start of the game, because that was exposing that side. He's dropped a bit deeper. And I think Liverpool have found it a wee bit more difficult since he's came back in and Alonso's dropped in to break that back five down.
Still dominating the game, really. I mean, Chelsea have had 2 or 3 little bits and bobs that they've actually created a great chance for Alonso. I thought Lukaku should have maybe hit the target as well near the end of half-time. But the truth is that Chelsea can't be this bad in the second half. And that would be the worry for Liverpool. When you've kind of dominated... Listen, if it was a boxing match, Liverpool are so far ahead in points. Unfortunately, it's not. You need goals. And Liverpool haven't been able to turn that domination into goals, but they probably haven't had as many chances as they should have had, considering the amount of ball.
Let's take a look then at the highlights from the opening 45 minutes. Remember, Romelu Lukaku starting, Kai Havertz out with a hamstring injury. Two coaches, of course, who know each other very well. It was Liverpool that came out of the trap, certainly the quicker of the two sides. 4 minutes in, Mendy not with the best clearance, and as we saw quite a bit in the early exchanges, Luis Diaz with a bit of space on the far side, but Thiago's really close to this.
Yeah, it's a great ball across. Thiago, unfortunately, is only, 5'5", unfortunately. Had he been 6'5", it might have been a goal.
And what a ball from Alexander-Arnold. Luis Diaz had Salah in the middle, decided to go alone. Keeper makes a save.
He gives the keeper the eyes, but then he's just got to lift it a little bit, then Keita scuffs his shot. But that was that ball we're talking about. It's a brilliant spot from Alexander-Arnold. First time outside of the boot, Chelsea high up. Yeah, I mean, just lift it a little bit and he puts it in the back of the net.
As the game went on, Chelsea got back into the contest a little more. Great opportunity here for Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, he just mistimes his strike. Generally, I would usually just let the weight of the pass come on to you and then just strike it, but he has a swing at it, mistimes it and scuffs it wide.
Arguably Chelsea's best chance would come here as Christian Pulisic would put a lovely ball into Alonso. His just first touch gets away from him and Alisson makes a stop.
I don't even think Alexander-Arnold was aware Alonso was outside him, but nice little poke through, which of course Alisson got injured here with the left boot. No intent whatsoever from Alonso, just a natural collision. Keeper comes out, does well, he's brave. Just there, he takes the knock, but that's what you have to do as a goalkeeper.
Alisson, though, would continue. Mo Salah would not. He'd go down with a groin strain and Jota would replace him.
Yeah, I remember Craig saying at the time, is he looking after him for the Champions League final? I would guess he maybe had a little niggle during the week because it was so quickly to take him off.
Then it would be the substitute Jota with a chance here.
He's got to score there, hasn't he?
Yeah, particularly him. We talked about his quality before the game. Yeah, obviously a lot of the talk was Luis Diaz. But how many times has he ghosted into those positions? The ball from Robertson is perfect and it just needed a little defter touch.
And then in injury time, Lukaku.
I mean, it's a tough chance, but he gets a shot on goal. So in that case, you've got to be at least making the goalkeeper make a save. That's wild, what it is.
So Chelsea 0, Liverpool 0 then at half-time. Who's happy with that, Craig?
60. I mean, look, I know. Chelsea have grown into it a little bit. They've created some chances. I think Liverpool have got a little bit more frustrated as the games went on. In fact, it almost looks to me the way Liverpool played the last 15 minutes of that half is that they know they've had a lot of games and there's a lot of games still to play. And they're just almost taking a bit of sting out of the game.
Right.
A little bit of tempo out of the game. And that's kind of allowed Chelsea to go, OK, we'll get our numbers behind it. When they played faster early on and Chelsea were more exposed, that's when they looked vulnerable. That being said, those 2 chances for Pulisic, you know, he had one where he did make a great run and Mount found him and he scuffed it, and then he had another one on his left foot. And that was sent to you guys. It just seems to me, Pulisic, when he's getting through in goal, a lot of times he loses his balance as he's about to strike. You watch him, when he takes some of these strikes, he falls over after, and that's telling me that he's kind of rushing it and he's not setting himself. But they have created a couple of really good chances.
Yeah, this was the opportunity here, wasn't it, for Pulisic?
Yeah, again, Craig's right, he's off balance.
I thought the one on his left foot was actually, you know, when he drove into the left side of the box, he had a little bit of pressure on him and it's on his left foot. But as soon as he strikes it, he's on the floor. He needs to just set himself a little bit more and compose himself, because they have had, I say, a couple of really good chances.
I think easily Tuchel will be the happier, because he'll understand how much they were being dominated, particularly the first half of that half. Whereas Klopp will be thinking, are we really going to dominate as much again in the second half? It's unlikely, and we still couldn't break through them. So I think Tuchel, no question, will be the happier of the two.
It's interesting what Thiago Silva's doing now. Whenever that ball goes into Mane, when he drops off, he is not even got a thought of going in there. He's just, OK, I'm not going to go in, I'm going to let somebody deal with it. Because as soon as he goes in, or one of the centre-halves go in, Liverpool will pop it around the corner. And that is making it difficult for Chelsea. Yeah, he can get turned sometimes, but there are still 5 defenders and midfielders that they've got to get through. So I think Chelsea have made a decision, certainly Silva, that they're not going to leave that space in behind.
Let's get some more reaction then, shall we, to the opening 45 minutes. Nadem, Don and Alexis are pitchside at Wembley.
Thanks, Dan. So everything going as planned, I suppose, for Liverpool in terms of that they were going to dominate, they were going to attack. They've had their chances, but they just cannot get the breakthrough. So Chelsea, happy?
Chelsea are happy. I thought Lukaku had a good end to the first half. I thought Liverpool, me and Nadem were both watching the game thinking Liverpool's first 20 minutes, they could have been 2 or 3 up. They were so dominant, they were cruising. They controlled the midfield, they looked very, very comfortable at the back. They were spreading the diagonal balls quite easily. Diaz was the man in form, first 20. You know, Chalobah was in a world of trouble so many times, but the more the game went on, I thought Chelsea grew into it.
Nadem, is it Chelsea that's doing something specifically well to hold off Liverpool, or are Liverpool just missing that finishing touch?
I think looking at some of the chances, you know, I think those attackers will think that they could have done better. So for Chelsea, as Don was alluded to there, it was just surviving that first 10-15 minutes, because Liverpool really took it to them. Diaz was always trying to stretch the game in behind. There was so much quality in the Liverpool midfield in terms of spreading it, switching the play, and then they rode that storm. And before you know it, Chelsea, they were more comfortable. I think in the end they had a bit better possession, and they created a few chances as well, and some little half chances that come in from a switch of play towards this right hand side. So for Chelsea, you know, they've made the adjustments, as Craig was alluding to there as well. You know, they're not having Thiago Silva getting sucked in, because that's playing into Liverpool's hands, and I think that is a major key here.
We had a little bit of fun with Trevor Chalobah in the first 7 minutes of the game. We both said to each other, Trevor Chalobah's in a world of trouble because Diaz was taking him on and on and on, and we said his body clock is thinking 80 minutes, and he looked up at the big screen and said 7.
Yeah, that's always the danger, isn't it? If you end up looking at the clock, and I'm sure for Chalobah in that moment he was looking at the clock, but in fairness to him, he's reacted well from that point, and he's been doing very well.
Well, speaking of worrying scenes, Mo Salah coming off, that would have been a worrying scene for all these Liverpool fans and Jurgen Klopp. But you think Liverpool definitely can carry on without him?
That'll be the message. I mean, Jurgen Klopp will deliver a team talk where I think they'll say to his midfield, if they can go left more so than right towards Jota. Jota's a threat when he comes off the flank, these little diagonal runs. But in terms of 1v1s, I think if you're in Liverpool's midfield, you're banging into Diaz as much as possible, because he is a bundle of energy. He's got some fantastic touches. He's taken Mason Mount out of Chelsea's forward line defensively to try and help Reece James. So they're working extra and overloads at times to try and stop him. But I think they've got enough at the top end of the pitch. But the more the game goes on, it's going to be cagey.
Well, we spoke about Liverpool's chances, but as the boys mentioned in studio, Christian Pulisic had a chance or two there. Nadem, thoughts on that?
Yeah, those are big moments. The one which has just gone wide at the far post. You know, Chelsea dealt with a lot of pressure to that point. And if that goes in, it changes the whole sort of perspective on the game, the way they try and approach things. But this is the nature of football. You're not going to take every single chance, but you just hope for his sake that that's not going to be the last big chance that Chelsea have. If this is the chance that cost you the game, all of a sudden you look back and you think, I definitely should have scored, instead of, oh well, there's going to be another one coming further down the road.
It's a great battle between Virgil van Dijk and Lukaku,
I'm enjoying that. And to be fair to Lukaku, he's won a few headers, he's backed in a few times, so Virgil knows that he's in the game this time.
But that is exactly what you would expect from Lukaku. What we saw from Chelsea last time in the Carabao Cup final, they did come out more guns blazing in the second half, really took the game to Liverpool. Is that what you expect to see now? Who do you expect to see kind of come more into the party?
Well, I was watching Thomas Tuchel on the sidelines, and for the first, 30 minutes of the game, he was going ballistic. He was going crazy at his players. And I think he wants them to be brave from playing out from the back, but we're watching the game thinking like Sadio Mane's putting static press on, he's standing there waiting, probably setting one or two traps, but it's a close one between firing it long into Lukaku. As long as you go long into his chest, into his feet, that's still a good ball, but it's risky playing out from the back.
Yeah, and I think what I'd say as well is that from my own perspective, I think Chelsea can play better. Yeah. Liverpool themselves, I think they can match that first 20 minutes, but Chelsea know they can raise it up another level, and they compete in this moment without being at their very best. So if they can find that in the second half, I think it makes for a very, very good game.
All right, well, we're expecting a very, very good second half. There's some very juicy battles going on here at Wembley, Dan, so we can't wait to see exactly what happens.
Thank you very much, guys. Steve, if you're Jurgen Klopp in that changing room right now, how are you handling this?
I think you're looking at the first 20 minutes of the game and say we have to repeat that. And if we do repeat that, then we will create chances. And this time, we will do better with them and put them in the back of the net.
Why couldn't they keep that up?
It's very difficult, never mind a cup final, it's very difficult to keep that sort of domination up for 45 minutes. For so many reasons. The Chelsea changed the formation, they're dropping people in, so then Liverpool have to adjust to that. Sometimes you give the ball away when you don't expect it, which has happened early, probably halfway through that half when Pulisic got that chance. So there are things happening in the game all the time that kind of dictate the flow of the game. Very difficult to be so dominant for so long.
That's like a boxer getting his nose punched for the first 2 rounds and his trainer saying to him, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep taking the punches. No, they listen, there was so much threat down that side. They had to narrow that gap. They had to close that gap, drop a bit deeper, get some bodies in. It was interesting going back to the boys were talking about Lukaku. He in particular, Stevie, was getting super frustrated with the kind of balls that Chelsea were trying to play into Lukaku.
Right.
Well, for me, there's no excuse for it. 25 years ago, when everyone was so tight, as a defender, you had to drop a ball, you had to manipulate it to give the centre forward a chance. There is no excuse, the way the game's played today, and the space that everybody has, that a defender, you telling me you can't drop a ball over the middle of the park to give Lukaku at least a chance? He might have won some headers, but he's having to jump and fight with Van Dijk, which means all he's doing is flicking it on.
Right.
And Konate, he'll read that all day, which is what he's doing.
From Chelsea perspective, is it a case of, look, we rode the storm early on, we just got to keep pressing now and take any chances we create?
I think so. I think it's quite simple from Chelsea's perspective, is make sure your shape's right. Liverpool will come at you. And when we do counter, like they have, and they've got behind the midfield, we've seen it on 2 or 3 occasions, have a bit more composure in the final third. If you go back to the Carabao Cup final, I said at the top of this show, they were wasteful in the final third. And kind of similar today, not as good a chances as that cup final so far, but decent chances. And I just think from Tuchel's point of view, he's saying, be patient and then hit them on the counter.
Just a reminder, ESPN FC with you on ESPN Plus 7 days a week to bring you up to date with everything you need to know in the world of soccer. We'll be with you today following Chelsea against Liverpool in the trophy presentation. And of course, it's not just the English football we focus on, but all of the big leagues, including La Liga. It's in the penultimate round of matches tomorrow, as it's still to be decided who will play in the Champions League and who will survive. Atleti against Sevilla, Getafe against Barca, 1 p.m. Then the rest of those remaining matches all at 1:30. All of them available on Plus. Second half, still confident, Stevie?
Not as confident as I was before the kick-off.
No, I don't. You're looking a bit nervous.
Yeah, well, again, I said to you earlier, we were talking about, dominating for so long. It just, 2 halves that aren't always the same.
Yeah.
So I find it difficult to believe that Liverpool are going to be just as dominant this half.
Who said it was going to be 0-0?
You said it was not going to be 0-0, Craig Burley. We have you to blame for the lack of goals. Hopefully that will change in the second half as we head back to Wembley now for your commentary team, Taylor Twellman and John Champion.
Welcome back to Wembley Stadium. Liverpool and Chelsea being welcomed back by the stadium announcer. Chelsea in their yellow change kit today, their decision. And their fans decked out in Chelsea blue across one half of this vast bowl. Christian Pulisic certainly had his moments in the first half. Perilously close to giving Chelsea a lead against the run of play. As was discussed in the ESPN FC studio during the break, the exit of Mohamed Salah also a factor in the unfolding tale of this 141st FA Cup final. Wembley Stadium, the original in 1923, staged a FA Cup final within weeks of opening, Bolton against West Ham. This modernised version, completely rebuilt and opened in 2007. Last time Liverpool won the Cup was in temporary lodgings at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, as it was then known, in 2006. Chelsea's last Cup triumph 4 years ago against Manchester United. Hazard's penalty here at Wembley. Liverpool started the first period like a train. Gradually the brakes were applied. Chelsea woke up. Mount has left that because he was in an offside position. Pulisic wasn't and keeps it alive. And Marcus Alonso has a chance. And Chelsea very nearly scored. Would have been a very strange goal.
Yeah, but how about the understanding between Mount and Pulisic here? Because I do think Mount is in an onside position, but he didn't want to risk this. Konate, I felt like kept him onside, but Mount felt like, you know what, no, but Pulisic continuing the run forward, who I thought had a very good first half. Should he have done better with the opportunities? Yes, but here, a great ball in, and Alonso almost put Chelsea up.
And another chance, this time for Pulisic. Lukaku. Turn of Chelsea supporters to roar their encouragement with hearts full of hope. Reece James. It's beyond Diaz. Diaz then snaked out a leg.
I mean, it's almost identical to the Carabao Cup final in February, where both teams had huge chances in the first half. And it's a little mind-boggling that this game is still scoreless. Just good opportunities from Chelsea. They grew into the game after really struggling in the first 15. Pulisic with a second great opportunity to give Chelsea a lead. Good save from Alisson, but a fantastic start here in the second half for Chelsea.
Alonso with this free kick. And Alisson backpedaling, wasn't necessarily getting there. And it's smacked off the face of the bar. Jorginho. Chelsea doing in the second half, and Liverpool did in the first.
Well, and mind you, in the first half, the shadows were awful. And I'm wondering if the shadows have any impact on this in-swinging ball from Alonso in front of Alisson. Whipped into that back post. Just up over the reach of Alisson, and fortunate for Liverpool supporters and Alisson that this doesn't hit the underside of the bar and go in. But again, what a start this has been for Chelsea in the second half.
What's changed?
I think the fact that the last 15 minutes of the first half, they grew into the game, and Thomas Tuchel and his side had some real confidence going in. You can make an argument they had the better chances in the first half, the more quality of chances, and now in the second half, they've come out and caught Liverpool flat-footed here.
Confirmation on your screen of the Chelsea starting 11. Minus the injured Kai Havertz. Liverpool without Fabinho. Missing because of a hamstring problem. And with Salah having been replaced in the 33rd minute by Diogo Jota. Salah, we're told, suffering from a groin injury. Liverpool with 3 matches still to play in pursuit of what they still hope might be an improbable quadruple. Southampton away on Tuesday, Wolves at home on Sunday, and then Real Madrid in Paris in the final of the Champions League a fortnight today. Chelsea, the reigning World Club champions, just 2 Premier League fixtures after this to complete their season. Leicester at home, Watford at home.
Let's go Liverpool, step it up! Oh my goodness!
Next did the Champions League at the quarter-final stage against Real Madrid. Runners-up in the League Cup to Liverpool. And watching on Ben Chilwell, who's missed the majority of the season with a knee injury. Hoping to get himself fit in time to represent England at the World Cup in November. Reece James. Comfortable enough for Alisson.
It's a different Chelsea though, isn't it? More of a team on the front foot, more of a team with an idea of how to get forward, how to break that initial line of pressure from Liverpool. It's been a different Chelsea over the last 20 minutes of play.
Jota. Naby Keita. Alexander-Arnold. And the chance fell to Andy Robertson. And he seemed in 2 minds as to what to do with it.
And it's also the defender in front of him, Reece James. It's a great ball in again from Alexander-Arnold. How often have we seen this over recent time for Liverpool? But it's that little jump from Reece James that throws it off for Robertson. The ball ends up coming off his body into his left arm. But again, what a ball that is from Alexander-Arnold, whipped with pace away from the goalkeeper. Decent attacking chance from Liverpool.
Looking to emulate their team of 2001 who won the League Cup and the FA Cup and the UEFA Cup for that matter. Here's Diaz!
Well, the best chances for Liverpool is when someone centrally is peeled off the defenders, and more often than not that has been Mane, but here this is Diogo Jota who does a real good job of running right through the middle. So then that back line of 5 at times that is so difficult to break down, it opens up. So then you can play little balls on an angle. Good little turn from Diaz, just wide of Mendy. But better reaction from Liverpool after a great start to this second half of Chelsea. Now, I thought Craig Burley made a great point at halftime of just saying it's almost as if Thiago Silva said, you know what, I'm not going to chase Mane all over the field. I'll worry about him in a certain part where it's in front of me, but if he drops into the midfield, I'm not going to follow him into that. And really the first time we've seen Silva get dragged out of position, and now leads to a dangerous free kick here for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Not his best delivery. Mount. Foul by Van Dijk. He was on his way back to base after a sortie upfield.
We've seen more from Mount, we've seen more from Pulisic, we've seen a better cohesion between Jorginho and Kovacic. The first 15 minutes, I think, had a lot of Chelsea supporters worried that this was going to be all Liverpool, and it certainly hasn't. And therein lies the experience that you and I were talking about before kick. Is just 18 of these Chelsea players have played in an FA Cup final, only 3 from Liverpool. And as they weathered that storm and now grown into the game, now that experience comes into play. Now, granted, some of that experience most recently hasn't been great for Chelsea in cup finals, particularly here at Wembley. But they've done a wonderful job of growing into this game.
In by Alonso. And fielded by Alisson. Henderson caught in possession. Pulisic. Alonso. Robertson. And now Mount. And James. Stretching was Alexander-Arnold. And Chelsea come again. Jorginho. James. Alonso.
That was close for Chelsea.
A complete turnaround since the break.
Well, there's a belief in possession, but there's also a belief in a variety of ways they can create chances. We've seen it off of Christian Pulisic and Mason Mount combining. We now see Reece James getting involved in the final third, playing a ball to that back post. But it's the defending here from Trent Alexander-Arnold that is just so timely. Often criticized for those moments of sleeping on the back post. They're not recognizing that run from Pulisic. As Thomas Tuchel has to be quite pleased from the reaction that we've seen from Chelsea in the last 25 minutes.
The attentions of Alonso. The attentions of the referee. Thiago. Fourth meeting of the season between two of the Premier League's top 3. 0-0 draw here in the Carabao Cup, decided on penalties in Liverpool's favour. Finished 2-2 at Stamford Bridge. Liverpool led that game 2-0. 1-1 when they met at Anfield in the league. Chelsea played half that game with 10 men after this man, Reece James, had been sent off. Mane going over. And to his and a few others' surprise, no free kick. Liverpool, you sense at this pivotal moment, because if they go on and win the FA Cup, maybe still have a say in the Premier League. If they then win the Champions League, it'll be one of their all-time great seasons. If they only end up with the League Cup, how do we judge a side that's thrilled the neutral on a consistent basis, has scored a club record number of goals, 142 and counting, has played scintillating football, and yet may just end up with the secondary domestic competition as tangible reward for all of that? One way of being in that position, but there is that risk. Konaté was tugged back. Thiago. There's Diaz. If it is to be Chelsea who emerge victorious today, they're going to have to do what very few sides have managed to do and beat Liverpool. Liverpool's last 68 games, just 3 defeats. Here's Naby Keita. And Jota!
I mean, what a turn this is from Jota. Again, it's that initial line of pressure that Chelsea struggled with in the first 15 minutes, because if Liverpool can turn you over, they've got a front three that are always in the right positions to quickly turn this into an attack. But you're backpedaling with all the momentum of trying to go to the goal. So world-class first touch sets him up. Good strike there. What a turn that was from Jota. Fantastic half a turn. That is an absolute nightmare to defend when your technique is on point the way Jota was in that moment.
Major League Soccer season rolls on. Another double header tomorrow to enjoy on ESPN. Taylor and I will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for Atlanta United hosting New England, 1:30 Eastern. And then we're off to the West Coast for Seattle Sounders against Minnesota United at 4 Eastern. And both those games also available via ESPN Deportes. Thiago with typical impudence. Robertson with typical accuracy. It's a corner, it might have been much more.
I mean, how about this ball from Thiago? Just putting on a show. At times with no-look passes, this with the outside of his right foot, but it's hit at the right pace for Robertson to run onto with full confidence that it takes one touch to prepare and then whip a dangerous ball in. Now all of a sudden it feels like Liverpool has a little bit of that momentum back that we saw at the beginning of the first half.
Alexander-Arnold into a vacant part of the penalty area and then beyond. Retrieval mission led by Henderson. Robertson. James presents it to Alexander-Arnold inadvertently. Deflected behind for another corner. Liverpool, as you will see, attacking the end of the stadium populated by their army of supporters. More than 30,000 in number. Alexander-Arnold. It's Henderson. And Mendy, more or less unopposed. Activity down on the Chelsea bench. They have the luxury of N'Golo Conte in reserve today as he makes his way back from injury. Alexander-Arnold. Thiago. Keita. Alexander-Arnold. Jota. Reeled in by Henderson. Mane. Thiago. And well held by Mendy.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Liverpool have now found themselves a little bit more momentum in the attacking third. It's because Thiago's having a few more touches that are influential. Changing the point of attack, just a little dink ball to Keita. Good opportunity, simple save from Mendy, but the momentum now all of a sudden has changed to now Liverpool feeling themselves and creating a few more opportunities than we've seen over the last 20 minutes. I mean, you would have to think N'Golo Conte is coming in for Kovacic. Yeah, there it is.
Well, Kovacic was a doubt coming into the game after being the victim of a red card challenge by Leeds' Dan James only 3 nights ago. Patched him up. And he managed to make it through 66 minutes, but what a fine replacement. At his best, he can seem like having 2 players rather than one. N'Golo Conte. James. Alonso. There has to be a winner decided today. The idea of FA Cup replays swept away nearly a quarter of a century ago. Alonso, always eager to join the attack. Mount. It'll come all the way for James. And rolled in for the first time shot. And it was Christian Pulisic who's had a fair few sights of goal today.
He absolutely has. He's had a real good understanding of those pockets of space that he can find the half a chance. 2 of them have been real good opportunities. This one's a little bit more difficult. But it's the ball from Reece James hit at the right pace so Pulisic can hit this first time. But of all the Chelsea attacking players, he's had the best of chances and easily could have a goal or 2 to his name.
Keita. Mane. Mane did well to keep it alive.
Wow.
Thiago.
Liverpool's playing amazing.
Luis Diaz.
Good effort from Liverpool.
it's difficult defending Liverpool because when Robertson gets forward, now it allows Diaz to either come inside or pull off the back shoulder of Reece James. And it's an underlapping run that forces Reece James to follow that, and that opens up that little bit of that window for Diaz to cut inside to his right and try to bend it to that back post.
Alonso. Overly robust challenge from Thiago Silva.
And I think Thiago Silva understands that if this ball's played into Diaz and he has the ability to turn, they were caught out of position a little bit. And so that is just the understanding of, you know what, foul here, slow the game down, slow the counter from Liverpool down to give themselves an opportunity to set up their defensive shape.
Chalobah's gone down here, having just seen off the immediate threat of Mane. Doesn't seem to be any particular lasting damage. I think the arm of Mane that may have come out as they vied for possession.
Yeah, I think it's the left arm, isn't it? Yep.
It's actually quite naughty. Liverpool's turn to think about a change. Peter Kravitz, trusted assistant of Jurgen Klopp, with James Milner, 36 years of age. As is said so often, the model professional. Starts relatively few games these days. The football equivalent of a finisher, really. Sent off the bench to batten things down. Pulisic. Conte just trying to nudge it onto Mount. Keita, and Diaz had made the lateral run.
And again, Mendy doing a real good job of just coming off that line, reading the game, understanding that his defenders in front of him need him to come off his line. He's had himself a really good final again for Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea.
Thiago. Extraordinary range of passing. This throw-in is the cue for the change. As advertised, in comes James Milner, replacing Naby Keita. With Manchester City when they won the Cup in 2011 against Stoke. He was also part of their team beaten in one of the greatest upsets of modern times in the final of 2013. Manchester City Completed by a stoppage time goal from Wigan Athletics' Ben Watson. Canate. Milner. Jota. Cross went James, and having cleared the ball, he was caught. Chelsea will happily accept that free kick. Milner the culprit.
Well, how often do we watch cup finals when it hits the 75th minute? There hasn't been a goal. This is where teams become a little bit more slow, pragmatic, deliberate. Neither the players nor manager wanting to make a mistake that changes the outcome in this game. And so now it depends on which group of players says, you know what, we've got something to give here in the last 15 minutes before extra time. Is there another opportunity? Because the game has really slowed down, I think, over the last 5 to 10 minutes here.
It's 6 years since we've had an FA Cup final go to extra time. 2016, when Manchester United prevailed over Crystal Palace. Maybe the more relevant parallel to draw is with the Carabao Cup final at the end of February. 0-0 after 90 minutes between these two, and then after 120. Timo Werner, one of those to score successfully in a marathon penalty shootout. Mount. Conte. Pulisic. Just as he was about to draw back that left foot.
Well, that was nearly a penalty.
Yeah, but it's the recovery run from Alexander-Arnold that's fantastic. Because as this play started, Pulisic was about 15 to 20 yards ahead of Alexander-Arnold. But as the play developed, he had to get on his way. He had to recover, get their last-ditch defending moment, and he's done a real good job in this second half in defending that back post.
Mason Mount to take. Alisson to claim. In that understated yet very effective way of his. Liverpool on the counter with Jota. Alexander-Arnold. Thiago. Caught by James right beneath the nose of Craig Pawson. And we're going to see the first yellow card of this FA Cup final.
Well, and initially the look like he came in studs up. But it's at the level of the ball. It's not above the level of the ball. So they're right in front of the referee. I think yellow card's the right call there. Klopp isn't extremely happy with the decision there because it was a nasty challenge, but it was the challenge that Reece James knew exactly in that moment his team needed because numbers were on Liverpool's side going forward.
Reece James, who was sent off earlier this season against Liverpool at Anfield. Left his team to play 45 minutes, a man short, and they managed to eke out a 1-1 draw. Thiago just needing a moment.
Yeah, and the counter actually came off of defending the corner. For a moment there, you felt like Liverpool had some real time and space to get forward. And it was this ball here from Jota that was sniffed out from Reece James that limited that attack. But then it was coming right through the ball and a harsh tackle on Thiago. And now Thiago's having the conversation with the referee. Studs were up. I think when you see the replay, it was through the ball. And I understand why yellow was given.
It's been a long and winding road for both these teams. In the absence of potential replays, their 6th match in this competition apiece. Liverpool having overcome League One, Shrewsbury, Cardiff and Nottingham Forest from the Championship, Norwich and then Manchester City in the semi-final from the Premier League. Chelsea's biggest struggle was arguably against League One Plymouth in the 4th round. To save a penalty in the
blasted over the bar.
Extra time, as this one might too.
Chelsea pressing hard.
The 14th time in the history of the competition that the FA Cup final has involved 2 of the top 4 in the domestic league table. Here's Jota, Milner, Jota again, and Thiago Silva just nicked it away from the onrushing Mane. And a loose touch from Thiago. Conte. Lukaku, and away by Van Dijk. Away from having 30 minutes more.
Appreciate the like on the video. Thank you.
Alonso. It's that point of the FA Cup final when grinding tension descends. Stakes high, time limited, limbs weary. Arms tightly folded. And the president of the Football Association watching on from the poshest seat in the house. Thiago. Jota. Mane. Luis Diaz!
Oh, close.
Well, I think this chance hits the post. And while the scoreline may be 0-0 here in the 83rd minute, the truth of the matter is it easily could have been 2-2, as both teams have had great opportunities to get the first goal. Good little turn here to open up the space from Jota. And then Mane plays it into the run of Diaz, and he's got Mendy beat, but Mendy's got that angle covered perfectly. And it's off the outside of the post.
Diaz. Milner. Lovely. This time the other upright.
Oh, nearly again from Liverpool.
Liverpool have struck both posts in the space of barely a minute.
Be free.
Diaz once again.
It should be 3-1 to Liverpool. I don't understand.
Jota.
So close to getting in.
Heading low again towards Robertson. And Liverpool looking to end the 90 minutes in the way that they began it, very much on the front foot.
Substitution for Chelsea, leaving the field number 10, Christian Pulisic. Well, just two great opportunities here for Liverpool over the last 90 seconds. And how about this ball in from Milner? On point, Robertson has the goalkeeper and Chelsea defenders beat. And how this doesn't hit the inside of the post and come back across, it is remarkable. But for the Liverpool and Chelsea supporters and even the neutral supporters, to think that they would get a replay of the Carabao Cup final in late February, that's exactly what we have seen here at Wembley today.
So Hakim Ziyech is on in place of Romelu Lukaku. Lies in the direction of the referee, who points for a goal kick. Robertson. Drifted towards Jota. Chalobah. Alonso.
And it looks like with Lukaku now out, Pulisic's going to play right through the middle. Mount off the left, Ziyech off the right.
And Alexander-Arnold is fouled.
Clearly a foul. Pushed him from behind.
Mount's unhappy with this decision because he felt like he got the ball first.
No, he pushed him from behind.
Trent Alexander-Arnold kicked the back of his leg.
Oh.
And that's why you see the reaction from Mount and Chelsea players, but now a real dangerous set-piece opportunity here for Liverpool.
These last few minutes, Liverpool once again have been knocking at the door.
This could be it.
Alexander-Arnold. Van Dijk. Difficult to control the header.
No window. Klopp looks kind of frustrated.
Anxiety everywhere, including the Chelsea bench. Thiago. Luis Diaz.
Diaz is just something else. I mean, it is relentless for 90 minutes at a high clip.
Robertson. Mendy on the half volley.
He's had himself a decent second half, hasn't he, Robertson? Easily could have an assist to his name and a goal with that volley off the bar, but he's had a real impact in the final third for Liverpool over the last 15 minutes. I mean, I'm stunned we're scoreless here with the quality of chances that have been there.
Alexander-Arnold. It's really amazing. The Carabao Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool didn't produce a goal. This one following the same text. Seems that Jurgen Klopp's first ever taste of the FA Cup final is going to be elongated by at least half an hour. Diaz, and he has the legs on Thiago Silva. He's done well to hold him up, and Diaz tried to curl it.
Diaz, nearly.
Sufficiently wrap his right instep around the ball.
I said to you pre-game, he's had a remarkable impact immediately into the Premier League with Liverpool, similar to Suarez. And I know they're different profiles and different types of players, but two players that came in January and immediately had an impact on the complexion of the season for Liverpool, immediately had an impact on the Liverpool supporter. Jurgen Klopp saying he is a world-class player. And for 90 minutes, Chelsea has had to deal with his pace and relentless pursuit of getting that opening goal. He is a special player, and I think one for years to come that the supporters at Anfield are going to love. Fantastic player to watch.
Fouled. Free kick as we enter the second minute of 3.
Another free kick to Liverpool.
Well, going into halftime, you and I both felt that Chelsea had the momentum. Chelsea had grown into the game and changed it. I now feel like going into extra time and at the end of this game, this is now Liverpool's game to lose because they've got the momentum. They've got the extra belief, the extra 5 to 10% at the end of the game.
Diaz.
Oh, great goalkeeping from Mendy.
He's taking a knock for his troubles. So maybe an element of cramp involved.
And again, I love the ingenuity from Liverpool. Instead of setting up the final set piece, how about a quick one here? Catch them off guard. You get one of the best crossers in the country of getting into that final space, but Mendy caught a little bit in no man's land, but doing a great job of being proactive, winning the ball, and then reacting immediately and gaining possession for Chelsea. If this goes to penalties, Tuchel can't make another switch of goalkeepers, can he?
Who says?
I mean, there's one thing about analytics, but there's another. If you've watched the last 93 minutes, like the Carabao Cup final, Mendy's been on point.
Thiago. That may just about do it for the initial portion of normal time. Craig Pawson consulting his left wrist.
We're going to go to penalties.
And blowing his whistle.
Oh my goodness, we're going to penalties.
Time in history, the FA Cup
Here we go.
Will roll on into extra time, of which there will be 2 15-minute periods. All of this after Alonso's free kick had struck the bar for Chelsea. Liverpool had tested the strength of the uprights through Diaz and Robertson in the space of a minute. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised. We've been this way before in the Carabao Cup final. 0-0 after 90 minutes. It's deja vu all over again.
Extra time, then penalties. Oh my goodness, this could be anyone's game.
All to play for then as we enter extra time. Chelsea hanging on in the end, Stevie, at the end.
Yeah, Liverpool pushed towards the end, but the truth is that Chelsea started the second half well. Almost went ahead with Alonso from a free kick.
Guys, if you're new, subscribe, smash that like. Oh my goodness, extra time and penalties. This is going to get crazy.
2 yards out. It's a volley. It should be a simple volley on his left foot, and unfortunately, he's hit the woodwork. So that's why we're now in extra time.
As big a game as this is, huge. Jurgen Klopp has to think about Fabinho out at the moment.
Yep.
Could make the Champions League final, no guarantee. Salah off with an injury. Diaz has been relentless, but as much as the biggest threat he's been, do you just keep him on for the whole 30 minutes, risking the injury with the fatigue? He has to think about the league games coming up, the Champions League final. I don't think he'll do it right now, but it has to be in his mind. Just what? Because I mean, you're talking about two big players in Salah and Fabinho. So it's a real balance act for Liverpool between winning this game and giving these players some sort of protection for the rest of the season coming up for them.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one because
how do you in the middle of a cup final be thinking about the league or the Champions League?
Should you be?
Final?
The answer's no, but then
I don't think you should. No, I don't think it's a FA Cup final, and I would think by now Klopp's realised that they're not winning the league.
Right.
So
forget Southampton on Tuesday.
Forget Southampton on Tuesday. I understand the possibility that because Diaz did look fatigued at the end of the 90 minutes.
He has covered a lot
he's
of
been
ground.
fantastic.
But then there's going to be a lot of them like that. So who becomes more important than anybody else? You know, is Diaz more important than Henderson? Henderson hasn't played 90 minutes, I don't think. I can't remember. Because normally he's either 60 or 70 minutes and he's off. So it's just not, there's not a straight answer. The truth is, there's not a straight answer.
Mister, this isn't going to finish 0-0 this time. We're going to see a goal.
Thanks for what you do.
I honestly didn't think we'd see another scenario like we have. We haven't had the same quality, I don't think, as the Carabao Cup final. Obviously got the same scoreline at the moment. It just looks like two really tired teams out there to me.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a raft of substitutions during this extra 30 minutes. There's no doubt Chelsea are on the back foot. But yeah, it's on a knife edge. I just think the whole season here for Liverpool, you know, is on a knife edge. Momentum, injuries, fatigue. We all know the more fatigued you get, the more chance you're going to pick up a muscle injury. If you pick up a muscle injury...
Wow, we've seen Van Dijk's coming off.
Is he going off? Yeah.
So again, as you say...
It just looks to me as if they're just not going to take any chances.
Yeah.
And that's where they are.
So in that sense, maybe Chelsea can make the most of it. It is all to play for, as Craig said, very much on a knife edge as we go back to Wembley with Taylor and John.
So here we go again. A game that has produced an abundance of chances, but yet not a single goal. It's always held the attention. Liverpool with early ascendancy, Chelsea fighting back, Liverpool finishing strongly. Liverpool probably should have won it through Andy Robertson. And now a change as their most important defender, Virgil van Dijk, is replaced by Joel Matip as we embark on 30 minutes of extra time. And it is interesting, where do you stand on the priorities for Jurgen Klopp now? Potentially pivotal league game at Southampton on Tuesday, as Steve Nichols said in the studio. Maybe Klopp has accepted that the league is going to be a bridge too far. But mathematically it's still possible. And then, of course, roll it on 2 weeks and you've got the biggest game of all, the Champions League final.
I don't think he's had a single thought about it since the moment this game kicked off. Obviously, Salah gets injured. Thiago has the hard challenge. Van Dijk now comes off. But in the moment, you can't be thinking about what tomorrow's going to bring because you've now already invested so much into the 90 minutes. You're now into extra time. I think the whole thing he's thinking about is winning the first FA Cup for Liverpool in the last 16 years.
So, Wembley and the wider watching world wrapped up in the unfolding drama of the FA Cup final. May not not have been quite as stellar a game as its Carabao Cup equivalent less than 3 months ago. The story has yet to be fully written. Alonso. Rudiger. Posted the width of the pitch for Reece James. Chalobah. Ziyech. Henderson locates Mane. Conte located him, as he is wont to do. Alonso. Once again, N'Golo Conte. James Milner. Last time we had a scoreless FA Cup final. 2005, Arsenal and Manchester United. It was the first ever final to go to a penalty shootout. The only other occasion that the FA Cup final has been decided from the penalty spot was the following year when Liverpool eventually got the better of West Ham. And that remains Liverpool's most recent FA Cup victory. Since then, Chelsea have won it 5 times. Virgil van Dijk not looking entirely comfortable as he was substituted at the end of 90 minutes. Salah off injured in the first half. It has been a cost for Liverpool today, whatever the outcome. Roberto Firmino still available off their bench. James. Pulisic. And 2 to his left, and Matip blocked out the light.
And Pulisic's been the most dangerous player for Chelsea today. He's had the best opportunities of the front 3. And now with Matip coming into this game, the last thing you ever want as a manager is having to make a substitution at center back position after 90 minutes, and now that mobility from Pulisic on the front 3 is going to ask some questions of Matip. Konate, fantastic run there from Pulisic.
Alonso. Well, just the second corner of the game for Chelsea. Ziyech. Mount having a go. Henderson will guide it out. And Liverpool trying to counter with Diaz, who looked rather weary towards the end of the regulation period. Conte. Alexander-Arnold. Gets it back from Milner. Jorginho. Pulisic. Alonso. In towards Ziyech. There was a little nudge there from Konate. Not enough to involve the referee. Thiago. Diaz.
Go back to that ball here from Alonso in behind from Ziyech, making that diagonal run. I think Chelsea supporters and Thomas Tuchel felt like there was enough contact there for the whistle to be blown. But mind you, in the Carabao Cup final, Matip played in that right center back position. And Chelsea isolated him, and they isolated him in a very mobile, in a fluid front three. That's kind of what they have now. Yes, it's Pulisic off at 90 minutes plus, and so maybe it's a little bit tired legs, but now all of a sudden it's a different look to this Chelsea attack with Lukaku out and Van Dijk coming out of the game, and Matip coming in.
James. Jorginho. Alonso. And Roberto Firmino has emerged from the dugout on the far side of the pitch and is going to take the place of the now labouring Luis Diaz, who for much of the opening 90 minutes was a proper live wire. Substitutions that Klopp has been able to make indicate the depths of his squad, the amount of quality even below the absolute first team. Jota, Milner, Matip, and now Firmino being introduced. None of them are significant downgrades. Have used 4 substitutions, Chelsea 2. James. Mount. Crowd confirmed as 84,897. We're watching just the 6th FA Cup final ever to go to extra time. Ziyech teased in towards Pulisic, and it was Alexander-Arnold who was marshalling him.
And he's been often criticized for having just defensive moments where he's had lapses positionally or he's been out of position. And yet Trent Alexander-Arnold in this FA Cup final has had 3 or 4 unbelievable defensive clearances or interventions on that back post that could have ended up being a goal for Chelsea. That one, another good example of that.
Mount. From the near post by Milner. Comes kindly for Chelsea, it's a corner. Mount, after a poor initial corner. Jorginho, Alonso. Overly rugged by Thiago in the view of Craig Pawson. Ziyech with this. Pulisic as close as anyone to getting his head on the end of it.
I think it's a corner. I think Matip was the one with the final touch.
Marcos Alonso is the one striding over to tee this up. Liverpool unbeaten in the last 6 against Chelsea. Chelsea 1 win in the last 11 meetings. The chance here. Alonso's kick on by Thiago Silva. Still no closer knowing which of these two managers will become the first German to win the English FA Cup. Last year Thomas Tuchel became the first German manager in an FA Cup final. And his day was spoilt by Leicester City and Yuri Tielemans in particular.
But so much of their careers are intertwined, aren't they? Tuchel following Klopp at Dortmund, Tuchel following Klopp to England. And while there's an admiration from both sides to one another, there's also a real good competition between both. You kind of felt it this week with Tuchel claiming that everyone in England loves Liverpool and loves Klopp. I thought the best part of the quote was, we don't want sympathy of the country tomorrow, we want the cup.
And they may still get it. Less pattern to this extra time than there was to normal time. It's more fragmented. Liverpool ended 90 minutes clearly in the ascendancy, but then there was a 5-minute break and that's made a difference. Milner. Thiago Silva.
I mean, you could see the 60 games played for these clubs, can't you? The tired legs, heavy touches, the lack of clinical finishing that we've seen throughout this entire games. What is it, the 61st game for Chelsea and the 60th for Liverpool?
Yep.
You're starting to see some of those products of that. We've seen some real heavy legs, and now you've seen Silva and Pulisic all coming up cramping in the last 30 seconds here for Chelsea.
It's a mark of true champion teams that in moments of adversity they find a way. This is Alexander-Arnold and Mendy with a right fist. Half-time in extra time. And still a blank score sheet at Wembley Stadium in this meeting of two of the Premier League's current top three. Still sailing in the same direction as the other domestic cup final, which they also contested on this ground less than 3 months ago. If you had to sum it up at this point, if it's a scale, a balance, in whose favour is it tipping at this moment? Can you say?
I don't think so. I really don't. I felt like at the end of full time, the momentum was on Liverpool's side. But as the first extra time went on, Chelsea had a little bit more life to them, a little bit more aggression to the final third. But you can see the pictures of players just gasping for any kind of last bit that they have. You can see Mount on one knee, Pulisic, hands on both knees. Van Dijk has been taken out of this. It's just, this is where you have to dig deep. You have to find the extra 5 to 10% that these two clubs have had a long, dragged-out season, and I don't think the game is favoring one side over the other in this moment. The question will be more so, John, is which team has belief that they can go get it before penalties.
And translating belief into something more tangible despite the fatigue, both mental and physical.
I tell you, these football players need to eat some fruit or something. They look tired as hell out there. You know what I mean? Like, eat some
Chelsea's
orange,
fans, it's been a
little tiny piece of banana,
10 miles or so for the majority.
coconut water or something.
From West
Jeez.
London to North. For Liverpool, it's been a 200-mile trek down from the northwest of England. It's a well-trodden
This is a
path.
big deal. Where's the nutritionalists out there giving them energy, man? You know, hydrating these guys properly, you know? This is a big, big deal, this final. Big, big money is riding on this.
In that Chelsea huddle, Cesar Azpilicueta was very much to the fore. And only as a substitute today. Liverpool's captain demanding more from his colleagues. Jordan Henderson, who today stands to become the first Liverpool captain to lift 6 different trophies. Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Cesar Azpilicueta are being introduced by Thomas Tuchel for Chelsea. Christian Pulisic, one of those to go off. Trevor Chalobah, the other. How would you describe Pulisic's contribution to this cup final?
I mean, he was dynamic, he was involved, he was easily the most dangerous player for Chelsea, and yet just the chance and the opportunity and the goal eluded him. He had 2 glorious opportunities, particularly the one in the first half and then the one right at the beginning of the second half that Alisson had to make a save on. But if you're trying to quantify the attacking players of Chelsea, he was easily the most dangerous. And he has shown the propensity in big games to show up for it and have himself some moments.
First FA Cup final to go to extra time without a goal after 90 minutes since 2007. For Pulisic, from here on in, it's a watching brief. Back in 2007, it was Didier Drogba who'd ultimately seal the trophy for Chelsea against Manchester United with a goal in the 116th minute. Here we're in the 106th. And this is Loftus-Cheek. Thiago. Sadio Mane. Ziyech. Henderson nipping in front of Alonso. Just after 7 o'clock in the evening, local time. As James whips it in, and there are penalty appeals there after a tangle involving Ziyech and Alexander-Arnold.
Well, the claim is when the ball's whipped in from Reece James is that Trent Alexander-Arnold brings him down, has a hold of him. Now, is it enough?
Well, the majority of the contact, if indeed there was much, was outside the area. And certainly not enough evidence for the VAR to intervene and invite Craig Pawson to reconsider. With tempers fraying around the edges. Soothing word from the referee. Firmino. Hosted from Mane. James. Hakim Ziyech.
Good defended.
Pocket pick by Matip. Alexander-Arnold expansively for Jota. Mason Mount having to track back. Conte. Ripped off by Konate. Conte. This time the door closed by Matip. Parts of the game at walking pace now. Liverpool are preparing a fifth substitution. Tsimikas, a Greek left back, in a straight swap with Robertson. A weary fellow. Discussions ongoing on the Liverpool bench. Van Dijk substituted, Fabinho injured, Oxlade-Chamberlain not in the squad today. As soon as they've finished here, they have to attune themselves, both in mind and body, for a trip to Southampton in the Premier League on Tuesday. Game that they have to win to keep the Premier League race alive.
It is a little surprising to not see Timo Werner come in for Christian Pulisic, isn't it?
It is.
With a tired back line, his pace, penalties coming forward, it's been a little surprising that Tuchel didn't go that direction.
He does have another substitution up his sleeve, but is he saving that for the goalkeeper for penalties? Didn't work out so well last time. Azpilicueta. Chelsea runners-up the last 2 seasons. First to Arsenal, then to Leicester. They had their share of Wembley disappointment. Here's Loftus-Cheek. Important header by Alexander-Arnold. Up goes Alonso. And the tidying up will be done by Jota.
Well, the Liverpool back line is saying Loftus-Cheek was in an offside position, but again, who is it on the back post defending? Time and time again, Alexander-Arnold's been in the right spot at the right time. So much of it is about his ability to play balls forward. The beautiful ball he played the first half at the outside of his right foot. The ability to deliver balls from all over the field in the final third, but his defending has been on point.
So final that now, I think it's fair to say, is showing the ravages imposed upon the two teams in an arduous season for both.
Knackered just watching this. I mean, truth be told, think about what the players have gone through. And again, you and I have said it many a times, the scoreline shouldn't be scoreless with the quality of chances that have been there. It may not have been played at the clip and the pace that we saw in the Carabao Cup final in late February, but the chances have still been there. I think those looks say it all, don't they? Both sides of supporters wondering how can this be coming on again.
Simicas alert to the danger posed by Loftus-Cheek. It's rare in particular that Liverpool failed to score. 142 goals this season. Never scored that many before. Simicas just impeded enough for a free kick. Simicas. Firmino rising with Loftus-Cheek.
James,
the goal kick. It's a final where impetus for one side or the other has been overtaken by weariness for both.
Chelsea defender's got his...
And the 37-year-old limbs of Thiago Silva are requiring a little massage.
He's potassium, man. He's a banana or something.
Sun-kissed May Day in England's capital. Temperature still nudging up towards 70 degrees. And Ross Barkley being called upon. The former Evertonian about to face Liverpool. It was kept in bounds the first time, but not the second. Alonso. And then Rudiger. And here comes that substitution, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who only came on at half-time in extra time, is substituted 14 minutes later by a player who has made one substitute appearance in the calendar year 2022, Ross Barkley.
I mean, it's obvious about the intention of penalties and why Barkley's coming on. I'm just still surprised Timo Werner's not coming on.
Free kick.
I mean, if you look throughout Barkley and Timo Werner's career, Werner's taken many more penalties and had more success at him.
Yeah. 16 out of 20 penalties scored by Timo Werner in all competitions as a professional.
It's just such a close game. It's hard to watch.
So as penalties loom, and Klopp grimaces.
Klopp is laughing.
And the clock ticks towards 120 minutes. Is there one last twist? Not with a free kick like that. One extra minute to play, and then it will be kicks from the spot. Liverpool started so energetically, so effervescently. Chelsea fought back. Liverpool surged again. Extra time has been relatively anodyne. Tsimikas. And there's Alonso. And Jota thought he had at the very least a throw, but it's gone Chelsea's way. And for just the third time in history, the FA Cup final will be decided by a penalty shootout.
Penalty shootout, people.
For these two teams, it's the League Cup final all over again.
This is going to be
Both
very,
coaches
very
will have time
anxious.
to set themselves for this, to write down their lists if they don't already know them, and to prepare their men mentally as much as physically. But as in February, so in May. As in the League Cup, so in the FA Cup. No goals between Chelsea and Liverpool. It's penalties.
This is going to be really hard to watch.
Good. You've got to sit for extra time. He's got some entertainment now with penalties.
Ding ding, round 2, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, it was looking to see if Kepa was coming off the bench. It was an interesting substitution, wasn't it? Loftus-Cheek.
Yes.
Just coming on, then going back off. Barkley coming on. But yeah, it was a lot of tired legs out there. A lot of tired legs.
Fatigue just showed pretty much throughout the whole of that extra time, Stevie.
Yeah, and with so many substitutions on both sides, you would have expected somebody with the fresh legs to make a difference. We never saw any of that. But then you basically got neither side wanting to make a mistake. That's the bottom line, and it showed.
And I think we saw also, we were talking about it at the end of the game, the balancing act. You know, when you look at who he took off, you know, Diaz, big player. Van Dijk, who obviously had a small niggle, but we were saying if it was the Champions League final, none of these players would have came off. But there's a fine line here between keeping those guys out there, winning the game, picking up injuries, putting fresh legs on. And I think we saw that thinking from Jurgen Klopp. And it's going to be interesting to see who the first 5 penalties are going to be. You know, you look at Chelsea and you think, Jorginho, penalties have been great.
Yeah.
Not recently. Not recently. Missed that big penalty for Italy.
Yeah.
Could have took him to the World Cup. Didn't. He's also missed another 1 or 2 domestically. So yeah. And obviously the Carabao Cup final shootout has to be in the players' minds.
How much is it in the players' minds, Steve? Everyone scored, of course, didn't they, bar the goalkeeper?
Yeah, I would guess that right now all the individuals who know that they're taking a penalty, regardless of the number, are starting to think from a selfish point of view of getting themselves ready for their penalty, which I think is the right way to go about it. You know, you handle yourself, you do your job, and then you let everybody else do their job as well. So if I'm taking a penalty now, I'm thinking, right, where am I going? Make sure I get my feet right, make sure you try and get a clean strike, try and keep the calm down, don't get too excited. That to me is what most of them will be thinking about more than anything else.
No wonder Fabinho and Van Dijk were laughing. They don't have to take a penalty. They don't have that pressure. But yeah, I'm not going to say it because I said it before the game, it's not going to be 0-0.
Well, for once you'll be right.
0-0 for penalties.
Well, no,
we're in trouble.
No, we're not going all the way through to the goalkeepers this time. It can't happen.
You wouldn't think so.
We will find out, of course. Liverpool are looking for their first FA Cup since 2006. Chelsea looking to add to their tally of 8, which they've acquired in the club's history. Let's get back to Wembley, shall we? Taylor Twellman and John Champion with the penalties.
And we are in the midst of 2 tosses of the coin. One to determine the end at which the kicks will be taken. The other to decide which team will go first. The day started with such energy, such expectation, such anticipation, and such sheer excitement at the prospect of 2 of the giants of English football going head-to-head. Gradually that's been whittled away by the fatigue that's overcome both sides at the tail end of seasons which have taken both clubs beyond the 60-game mark. No change of goalkeeper this time by Thomas Tuchel. Edouard Mendy will get to try to finish the job rather than being replaced by Kepa Arrizabalaga. And Liverpool's goalkeeper will be there, senior man Alisson, whereas it was his deputy Quaveen Kelleher back in February. So Chelsea are going to go first in the form of Marcos Alonso, their Spanish left back. Both goalkeepers being instructed by the referee before facing the first kick as to what's anticipated of them, primarily to stay on or above your line at the point of the kicker's impact. And VAR has a place to play in that if required. It's at the Chelsea end. Chelsea are going first. In theory, it's in their favour. It is. Alonso and Chelsea are off to a successful start.
And this is going to be the underlying thing during this penalty shootout, is those that took a penalty in the Carabao Cup final, do they change their direction? Alonso in February went to the goalkeeper's left. This one in the FA Cup of May, he goes to the goalkeeper's right. Milner in the Carabao Cup final went to the goalkeeper's right, to the bottom of the net. But it was Kepa who was in goal, not Mendy. And rightfully done by Thomas Tuchel. He goes with his hot goalkeeper in cup finals.
So last time it was Milner, followed by Alonso. Both scored. This time it's Alonso who has scored, followed by James Milner, who follows suit with a penalty of some conviction.
And again, different than the direction he went in the Carabao Cup final, but I think Mendy had a little bit of a touch on this.
They're 1-1 right now. 1-1. It's a penalty for both sides.
Like it was
they're drawing right now.
Than the goalkeeper, but that one was savable from Mendy.
Cesar Azpilicueta. For so long, Chelsea's captain, a yeoman player. Slightly nervy, a few extra deep breaths. Azpilicueta saved. Alisson flying to his left and I think getting a touch onto the post.
Well, it's the presence of Alisson.
Liverpool are ahead
I'm not sure
by
he gets a
goal.
touch on this. I think this is just hit, trying to be extra precise, hit with pace, bending away from the post.
Chelsea player choked.
No touch from the goalkeeper, and unfortunate for Azpilicueta and Chelsea. That's outside the post. And a big moment for Liverpool and their goalkeeper, Alisson.
Liverpool turn now to Thiago. A maestro.
This is fucking
Appears
nerve-wracking.
to stroll through the majority of games. So insouciant are his skills. So masterful his technique. And as calm as you like.
Well, it's just a little bit of the change.
I mean, it's
of
easy
body,
to be
right?
calm
Similar
when
to
you're
the way
a goal up.
Jorginho takes them for Chelsea, where it's a hop and a skip. This one's not much of a hop and a skip, but he just has a little bit of a twist of the body, and he gets Mendy going the other way.
Well, Reece James took a penalty in the League Cup final and scored it. As did every player bar one in a marathon shootout that went to 11 rounds of kicks.
Remember, it was a short run-up. He went to the goalkeeper's right.
It's another short run. And another successful conversion. To level it at 2 apiece, but Chelsea have taken 1 penalty more.
How about this? Nerves under pressure. 2-step run-up. Wait for the goalkeeper to guess one way. Go right down the middle.
Roberto Firmino for Liverpool.
And his most recent penalty for Liverpool was December 29, 2018 against Arsenal. And he went to the right side.
Fabinho's on the ball.
3.5 years since he last took a penalty kick. That will feel like a lifetime at the moment. But he has a wise old head on those shoulders. And his nerve holds.
Well, and sometimes that stutter step can throw you off guard as Petr Cech watches on. Mendy guesses right, and again, like the first penalty went up against in the shootout, he gets a little bit of a
To be
touch.
fair, Chelsea
Watch
keeper nearly had it. He had his fingertips on it.
But enough pace from Firmino to end up in the back of the net.
Mendy's been pretty close to saving a couple of these. Now talk about coming out of the shadows. Ross Barkley, who grew up playing for Everton across Stanley Park from Liverpool, has only appeared once briefly in 2022 prior to today. Sent on in the last minute, and that's why.
Just a good penalty from Barkley, because throughout his entire history of taking penalties, he's gone with pace to the goalkeeper's right.
Chelsea need to save this next penalty.
Barkley understanding, just getting the goalkeeper going the wrong way. Strong penalty coming into a game late of that for the whole point of taking a penalty. Difficult moment. Barkley answers it.
Trent Alexander-Arnold was Liverpool's number 4 penalty taker in the League Cup and has retained that position in the shootout list today. Master deliverer of the crossed ball and of free kicks. Alexander-Arnold looking only downwards. Into the corner.
It's in.
4 out of 4 for Liverpool.
In the face of someone that wanted the moment.
This next penalty decides.
Just a good, solid pen. Understanding that in February he went to the goalkeeper's right.
You can imagine the stress that's on these players right now, keeper and the
Remember, it
shooter.
was in the European Championships in this building. He missed the penalty against England.
This one he has to score to keep this shootout alive. Jorginho, 9 penalties this season scored. None with quite the pressure attached to this one.
It's in for Chelsea. Liverpool need to score this.
There was any doubt, but
if they don't, then it goes back to penalties again.
Traditional penalty run-up that we've seen Jorginho take throughout his time.
If Liverpool score this next goal, Liverpool win the FA Cup.
Against his Senegalese teammate, Mendy in goal. And it was in the African Cup of Nations that he went to the goalkeeper's right.
The ball handed to him by his goalkeeping chum, Alisson.
He looks so stressed out right now.
Stands directly in front of him and stands between him and securing the FA Cup for Liverpool. This to win it for the Reds. A man who knows penalty heartbreak. And there's
it's been saved! Wow! Wow, we're going back to penalties. Resetting
Chelsea
back to 0. Wow.
And it's why there's so many different mind games and different angles you can go at when you go up against a penalty taker in a goal.
Chelsea got extremely lucky here. Extremely lucky.
Mane's thinking, well, Mendy knows exactly where I want to go. He saw me go it in the African Cup of Nations final. I love going to the right, so I go to the left. Mendy answers the call. This game has delivered time and time again, and what a huge save that was for Mendy.
So we're into sudden death. 4-4 after 5 rounds.
Remember, against Chelsea in the FA Cup, he went to the goalkeeper's left.
This won't help Ziyech's nerves. A couple of flares have been thrown on.
You should see these players' faces. They are so stressed out.
They're actually blue flares, so one assumes thrown by Chelsea supporters.
Look how much money is riding on this. How much pride.
Chelsea reprieved for now, and
Chelsea score.
Good pen.
Rams home the advantage. Now it's Liverpool who have to score.
Liverpool have to score. It's a need, not a want.
Fantastic penalty there taken in a pressure moment. Just so much conviction to Ziyech. The flares on the field, the delay, calming his nerves, good pace.
I can smell the sweat through my fucking TV.
And now the pendulum has swung.
Oh my goodness.
So Liverpool are the ones playing catch-up. They are the team that has to respond by scoring.
He went down the middle in the Carabao Cup final.
Huge responsibility on the shoulders of Diogo Jota.
Fucking hell. He's in.
Pretty confidently done in the circumstances.
They're still tied.
5 apiece.
Similar to the League Cup final.
Look at the faces of the fans. They can't believe what they're watching. I can't believe what I'm watching.
Mane, and Azpilicueta hit a real good penalty. Just was hit with too much pace off.
Chelsea step up. Missed.
Real precision, especially.
Oh my goodness.
Mason Mount for Chelsea.
Go on.
Off a fairly lengthy run. And
yes,
saved.
saved.
Firm left hand.
Oh.
It's advantage Liverpool.
Chelsea have to save this. They have got to save this.
Here from Alisson, because he doesn't guess. He holds his ground and allows this run up from Mount to give him a little cue that once he opens his hips to that one direction, he guesses the right way, and obviously with that athletic profile and the quickness, get down and be very strong with the save. A huge save for Liverpool.
And so it falls to Liverpool's reserve left back, Kostas Tsimikas. If he scores, Liverpool have the cup. It's Tsimikas. It's another red letter day. The quadruple dream is still alive for Liverpool.
Liverpool, congratulations, they've won. On penalties.
A 50th major trophy for England's most decorated club. And amidst red flares, they are about to get their hands on the precious FA Cup for the first time in a generation. By the end, some of them could barely walk. And yet somehow from within, they summoned a focus and a spirit. And all but one of their 7 penalties were successful. Alisson saved critically from Mason Mount. And Kostas Tsimikas accepted the gift of an opportunity to write his name into Liverpool's folklore. And already he's on the shoulders of teammates celebrating. Tough for Chelsea, but for Liverpool, for the second time in 3 months, victory over the Blues from West London in a domestic cup final at Wembley.
And it keeps that dream alive of winning the quadruple. But you look at Thiago Silva and the Chelsea players' faces, the fact that they've lost 3 straight FA Cup finals here at Wembley. They've been to 5 of the last 6, only winning 1 of those. Both teams had their chances. Both teams had quality chances to turn the game on its head in regulation. Yet it comes down to penalties, and taking penalties is often the most difficult thing to do with heavy legs, and you look from and feel for the Mason Mount and the Chelsea players for his miss. But it's just remarkable to think that the Carabao Cup that we saw in February was replayed here at Wembley Stadium in May. Almost an identical game, an identical result. And yet when it's your season, Jurgen Klopp knows it. We may not have beaten Chelsea in February, but we won the shootout. Rinse and repeat in May.
Well, if there's any manager that knows how to celebrate in sync with the fans of his club, it is Jurgen Klopp, who is off prancing and dancing in front of the Liverpool legions. Wembley belongs to the red half of Merseyside. Chelsea will retreat, beaten here for a second time in a showpiece final in 2022. Their journey home relatively short, but full of pain and anguish. Liverpool supporters in full voice. The Premier League still a possibility. The hope of the Champions League coming home. And now the FA Cup to add to the League Cup. They are halfway to a quadruple heaven.
Let's give man of the match to Benq. What an outstanding performance. He saved so many goals.
John quite rightly said the quadruple still on for Liverpool. Tsimikas very much the hero, scoring the winning penalty in that shootout, which gives them their 8th FA Cup win, their first since 2006. There's something within this team, Stevie.
Just when it matters most, somebody, and that's the key. It's not always the same one that produces. Today, it's Tsimikas, and you've got to say Jota before him as well. Jota misses, Chelsea win the FA Cup. So they're fortunate that, yes, they've got great players, they've got a great unity, they've got a great team, but they're lucky that on any occasion there are multiple players that can step up and get it done.
Watch your hamstrings. Watch the hammy. Might have to play in Paris. Jota was number 6, wasn't he? And probably thinking beforehand, you know, I'm okay, probably don't have to play.
As Sadio Mane walked up.
And then, as Mane misses, and then the next Chelsea one is scored, all of a sudden, as Stevie said, the pressure is huge. So that was a very, very good penalty. I feel Mason Mount's been a brilliant player for Chelsea all year. He's the top scorer. He's almost in the team most weeks, works hard, does everything right. Just keeper chooses the right way, and he's a big frame, isn't he, Alisson? And if you don't hit enough pace, enough power, and he chooses the right way, then you're in trouble. And you've got to feel for the lad, but it's part and parcel of the game.
What's interesting, Stevie, you were seeing there people trying to give him some solace, trying to give him and as a man who missed in the European Cup final, that's the last thing you want.
Well, the more I think about it, I guess it's an individual thing. I'm sure some people are happy that somebody comes up and gives them that. Personally, stay away from me. Leave me alone.
The difference is you won.
Well, yeah, but I know, but
it's like easier to stomach.
But even so, had we not, I wouldn't have wanted people around me mollycoddling me. Look, I'll get over it. Didn't work out. Leave me alone. That's, again, just a personal opinion.
Azpilicueta, of course, missing that second penalty for Chelsea, which opened the door for Liverpool. Mane missing the 5th, but in the end, it doesn't matter to Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp as he continues to add to his legacy at the club, Craig.
Yeah, I think they just about shaded it in the end. I mean, it's so hard to gauge, and for the last, I don't know, 40, 50 minutes, including extra time, two teams were absolutely knackered, out on their feet. The game was stretched, substitutes come on. Some had a bigger influence than others. Yeah, I think over the balance of play, even though Liverpool were not at their sparkling best, I think they just did enough.
I think this is one of those, the penalty shootout to me is a classic of after the Lord Mayor's show, because as soon as Mane misses, I'm thinking, you know, should you have let Mane take it? Because he's against his own teammate in Mendy, who has watched and probably been in goals for penalty practices against them. You know, would you, in hindsight, have let Jota take that 5th one? But again, it's really easy to say so after the event, because you kind of think that between Mane and Mendy, it was a bit of a double bluff, you know, because he knows he goes to that side. That's the side he went to when he won the African Cup of Nations. So is he thinking Mendy thinks I'm going to change it? So it's that. You could have got rid of that whole dynamic if you had changed it. But again, easy to say after the penalty's been missed.
How critical, if at all, should we be of Chelsea?
I just think Liverpool are a better side, and even Liverpool not at full strength. The league table doesn't lie. The Champions League doesn't lie. These elite competitions, over the 36 games or whatever it is so far, they're a mile ahead them and Man City. So they lack a killer instinct up front, again, there's no doubt about that. Again, we saw Pulisic with a couple of chances, there was other Chelsea players with a couple of chances, didn't take them. If you keep Liverpool to a clean sheet in normal time, defensively you've done a decent job. It's the other end.
Right.
It's the other end, when they're creating chances, they haven't taken them again. I mean, it's ifs and buts, but the Carabao Cup final and this cup final could have been different with a real quality front line. They don't have that, and that's why he's chopping and changing all the time, and that's why Lukaku was back in, after the season that he's had.
And they've been doing it all season. You know, with Lukaku coming in.
Okay, well that's it, people. That is it. We have the score at well, it was 0-0. Went to penalties. Well, extra time, then penalties, and penalties again. So
this team's in good shape.
Pretty cool. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll be streaming tonight some Warzone gaming, but there'll be more soccer, football tomorrow, most likely. I'll be doing some Premiership games. So peace everyone. If you're new, subscribe. Make sure you smash that like and appreciate you guys showing up.